So, hi everyone, welcome to Deep Tech Showcase's Aerospace and Defense Showcase. We're really excited to have everyone on the call today. I'm going to give a quick introduction on Deep Tech Showcase, and then we'll have some remarks from one of our sponsors. But essentially, this is the layout of the showcase. We're going to go until about 4:30 Eastern time, with 3 sessions. So excited! I know some of you guys are going to bear down for the entire call. Some of you guys will come on and off, and that's totally fine. But we're looking forward to some exciting presentations and some exciting, Q&As. So what is Deep Tech Showcase and what are we doing? Our goal essentially is to take dual use technologies. Companies are developing dual use technologies and help bring them to fruition and bridge the innovation valley of death, to quote the terms that everyone else is using. But basically, it's taking this ecosystem and hopefully bringing together the right people in the right places to make things actually work and come to fruition. So, who are those players? So obviously, the easiest one is startups. The startups we work with and are going to see the presentations today. Then, in addition to that, we have tech scouts both from the government as well as from corporations. And then lastly, not leastly, we have investors who are able to, provide capital to these dual use companies to actually grow. So this is a showcase event. What it is there's going to be presentations and then there's going to be Q&A with all of these groups. If you see a presentation today and you really like the company, usually the presenter will leave their information in the chat after the presentation. If not, feel free to reach out to me. If there's anything specific that catches your interest, I'm always happy to try to make an introduction wherever I can. So feel free to talk to myself or Brian if there is something you see today. And that leads us to our next point. We also do guided introductions. So if you see a presentation, you want to connect with them, or let's say none of the presentations today necessarily make sense, but you're interested in a certain area or field, we're always happy to try to make connections whenever we can. Our upcoming showcases, the next 2 ones are advanced materials and advanced manufacturing in one showcase. And then after that, we have energy. So now I am going to hand the floor over to Josh Gee. Josh is going to tell us a little bit about our parent company, Eagle Point Funding.
Thanks, Sasha. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Deep Tech Showcase, Aerospace and Defense Showcase. My name is Josh, and I'm a business development manager here at Eagle Point Funding. So, as some of you might know, Eagle Point Funding assists deep tech companies with business development activities by connecting our clients with federal and industry stakeholders through our Deep Tech Showcase network, which you're obviously here today. And as well as this, we also assist in finding and applying to US federal funding R&D opportunities, typically over a longer engagement where we can work with our clients and learn about the technology as we go along, getting better and stronger in our writing as time goes on. We apply to various funding mechanisms and vehicles that the US government provides, like the SBIRs, broad agency announcements, etc. So we apply on a multi-submission strategy, and the aim is to bring you back as much in R&D funding as we can in the time that we work together. Beyond grants, we also offer procurement services where we're responding to different RFIs, sources sought, and working with you on your website and getting you in a position to actually then go and sell to the US government. So yeah, if any of that sounds relevant to you and you'd like to jump on a call with me to discuss your tech and how we can assist in securing those types of grants and contracts, then please book a call with me. You can do so with the barcode provided or following the link beside my photo there. I'd love to speak to you about your company and your tech and see if we can work together.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Josh. Let's see if I can get the slideshow back up and running. So in terms of the sessions today, session 1, we're going to be having critical innovations, air protein, Vertiv, wind lift, and right ascension. Following that, we're going to have Nexigen, Skyfish, Cognicy, SkyMapper, and Hybron. And lastly, Velar Coilless for that session. And last but not least, we're going to have for the 3rd session, Lemco, Amsera, Edge Runner, and Rocket Technology System. So now what I am going to do is we're going to go around the room. I know we have quite a few panelists, and we're going to quickly introduce the panelists so that, there's a little bit of an idea of who's here. So I'm gonna, as I go around, feel free to, state your name and your firm and, what you guys are looking for. So let's start with Alex Hamilton. Alex, you want to go right ahead?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. My name is Alex Hamilton. I work at Craft Capital. I am in my car, so I'll probably be off video. But we focus on pretty much mid cap with a specialty on aerospace, defense, and technology. We try to stay away from startups. Startups we do, but technically, probably $50 to $100 million is our sweet spot. Usually, someone on the bleeding edge that has scalability.
Thank you for joining, Alex.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Next up, we have Lori Chappelle.
Hi, I'm Lori Chappell from MDA Space. MDA Space is a company that specializes in space robotics, earth intelligence, and communications. And we're always looking for new or cutting edge tech partnerships or strategical working groups in those three areas of robotics, earth intelligence, and communications.
Absolutely. Pleasure to have you, Lori. Next up, we have Tobias Segal.
I am a senior associate with Fine Structure Ventures. This is Fidelity's deep tech VC, and amongst we invest in climate, but also in bio, aerospace, and compute.
Sure. It's a pleasure to have you, Tobias. All right. Next up, Marissa McGinnis. Marissa, can you, I think you're muted still.
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Okay, there you are.
Thank you.
Good morning.
I'm a private investor, and also I'm a limited partner in several venture funds, Blumberg Capital, R42 Group, and Golden Seeds. And then my interest, so I also invest in real estate, equities, and then I do direct investments in startups. So my interests are drones, chips, different types of chips, and AI. Thank you.
Sure. Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you. Next up, we have John Brown.
Hi, how's it going, guys? Yeah, my name's John Brown. I work Luke Air Force Base, active duty Air Force. So I run the innovation cell here on base. So we're always looking to partner with industry and try to connect the dots to see if any of the problems we're having, if collaborating with industry can help us solve our problems.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you here, John.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Next up, we have David Adcock.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Yes, my name's Master Sergeant David Adcock. I work also here over at Luke Air Force Base in Phoenix, Arizona. Work with John Brown here. And we've done extensive SIBRs in the past. I know we're look to doing more SIBRs. I don't know how AlfWorks is going down the road, but we definitely have a good success in writing SIBR packages and getting them partnered with companies. So I look forward to just hearing what everybody has today. And if we can apply it to our wing mission, that's exactly what I'm kind of looking for here over at Luke. I know we have a lot of new initiatives that are coming down the pipeline when it comes to new technology, drone usage, and stuff like that. So I look forward to just hearing what everybody has to say.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you. Next up, we have Bill Waynick.
Hello, everybody. Bill Waynick. I work over at Headquarters Air Force at the A6. I'm the senior advisor for warfighter communications. So looking forward to anything when it comes to technology for, basically sending and receiving data, software applications, cloud, all those things. But happy to be here. Thanks.
Happy to have you. Next up, we have Paul Garcia.
I'm Paul Garcia from the Air Force Office of Energy Assurance. I'm contract support from Booz Allen. The office is part of the Civil Engineering Division that works on utility connected energy. So that's water and power for all 200 Air Force bases around the world. Happy to be here.
Nice. Happy to have you. Next up, we have Bara Haji Saeed.
Hi everyone, my name is Bahar Haji Saeed. I'm a technology scouting director for BAE Systems. So as it sounds, I look for small businesses, startups to introduce to all of my internal colleagues so we can partner and collaborate with them. And our focus areas, it's a variety of things. We do lots of things. AI/ML, autonomy, advanced manufacturing, sensors, UIR, RF sensors, lasers, anything basically you can think of. Looking forward to hear your pitches today. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. Next up, we have Mark Morgan.
Hey, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Mark Morgan, I work with the Air Force Civil Engineer Center, obviously U.S. Air Force. We're interested in things that can help us move the needle on maintaining, operating installations, facilities, runways, roadways, infrastructure. Really looking for anything along those lines. We do also participate in the AFWERX SBIR STTR process. So if we're looking to sponsor somebody, we do that as well. But that's me in a nutshell. AFTEC Innovation. Over.
Perfect. Happy to have you join. Next up, we're gonna have Katie Batts. Katie, I don't know if you can unmute. Oh,
there we go. All right. Hi, my name is Katie, and I am on the Strategic Sourcing and Partnerships team for Boeing. I help support the Mentor Protege program as well as the SBIR STTR programs. And we do offer support, letters of interest, etc., for our topics. And I'm excited to see what you guys have to offer today.
Pleasure to have you. Thank you for joining. And so I know there's a few panelists here that are supposed to be here for session 2. I don't know if you want to introduce yourself now. If you do, feel free to raise your hand. Otherwise, we could keep you for session 2. Up to you guys. All right. I think we'll keep it to that then. Perfect. Okay, awesome. So with that, we're going to get started. Thank you to everyone who joined the panel. We're really excited. And so just ahead of time, before we get started, I want to let you know that there is a React button on Zoom. And under the React button, you can raise your hand. If you would like to ask a question, it's easiest because there's a lot of panelists. If you raise your hand, if you can't find it, feel free to jump in. But we're excited to hopefully have it orderly. With that, we're going to start off with critical innovation. We have both Ross and Diane on the call. So if you guys want to get going, you should be able to share your screen now.
Let me just share our screen. All right. Hopefully that's working for everybody.
We see it. It's just not on presenter mode yet. There. As in it's yeah, I mean, it should be fun. Perfect.
Okay, great. Well, Thanks for having me. My name is Ross Donaldson, and I'm here to present and I'm the president and CEO of Critical Innovations. I'm here to present about our technology called Fully Qualified Manufacturing, also known as FQM, which is for the automated on-demand point of use production and, most importantly, turnkey qualification of mission critical parts. Okay, good. So I'm sure that many of you here are familiar with the critical vulnerabilities of traditional centralized manufacturing and the promise that decentralized manufacturing holds for the on-demand production of critical components directly at point of use. And really, additive manufacturing, which is also known as 3D printing, has as the key to that promise, which has really transformed the ability to produce on-demand critical components at point of use. However, additive manufacturing alone is not sufficient for part production in highly qualified industries such as aerospace, defense, and also medicine, where parts need not only to be produced, but also subsequently qualified to exacting standards. And so no one's going to put in a part that hasn't been qualified into a rocket, a plane, or a satellite. And that has really hindered to date the idea of decentralized manufacturing. So our solution is an automated system that not only is able to fabricate parts on demand and on site, but additionally automates the qualification of those parts to exacting ISO standards to allow essentially the creation of a flexible manufacturing ecosystem that can dynamically respond to emergent needs in a distributed manner. FQM is an interoperable plug-and-play framework that works with other additive manufacturing technologies. So you're probably familiar with the ability to 3D print metals, plastics, a wide range of components. And our system integrates with them to, after their production, to also allow the automated qualification of those components, which currently is not possible. This is a dual-use technology that's broadly applicable to a large commercial market, both from a wide range of military uses as well to civilian use. So it worked for the end user at a distributed site. Essentially, it looks like an electronic vending machine. They select whatever component that they want from a catalog of components, for example, for replacement parts for an airplane, or depending on the scenario, whatever parts they need. Then the system produces them utilizing standard additive manufacturing techniques, but integrated with our system, which allows for the pre, intra, and post production automated inspection processes that allow for when the part is fully then produced by the system at the end, it can then be delivered as not only a part that can be used, but that is certified and that's ready for use. Almost equally as important, if that component is not ready for use, has not been fully qualified, then those components are not discharged from the system, so that it's really allowing quality to be part of this manufacturing, even though the central manufacturer who's responsible for the quality isn't at that distributed site when the part is being made. So there are multiple benefits from this, from production both on the ground all the way to in-space manufacturing and assembly, where components can be made in space to these exacting components, knowing that they still meet the same standards, such as AS 9100, even though there hasn't been a human inspector that has seen the part afterwards. Our competitive advantage is really this intersection of these two key technologies, high expertise in additive manufacturing technologies and inspection technologies, as well as a background as a manufacturing in a critical component industry with high quality assurance and ISO certifications. Together, that's brought us to this FQM product. The traction to date, we have a phase one, we had a directed phase two SBIR from the Space Force that was successfully completed. We then had follow-up funding, currently that's ongoing, which is phase three funding from the US Army for $2.9 million. We're on or ahead of schedule for all tasks and have been notified verbally of additional money that will be placed on that contract. And we've also had interest from other agencies, including the US Navy. To date, our company has worked on under more than 50 different DoD awards, including from the Army, Air Force, Navy, Space Force, and DARPA. What we're seeking today is an Air Force or Space Force customer and end users to support a TAC-5 submission. We have had the initial SBIR, we've had the follow-on funding, and are looking for those to complete the TAC-5 submission. Our team to date is really at this cutting edge between engineering and rigorous quality standards and has extensive experience working with the Department of Defense. I'm happy to lead the team, and honored to lead the team of engineers, quality personnel, as well, and regulatory personnel, as well as in-house manufacturing and production personnel, and our dedicated team of project managers who are very familiar with DoD standards. Please feel free to reach out to me, and I'm happy to take questions.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ross. So again, just to remind everyone, we'll answer the questions in the order that the hands are raised, or if you want to chime in, feel free to jump in whenever you guys want. Lori, go right ahead.
Yeah, I'm wondering, obviously our interest is the space aspect of this, like very cool technology you presented. To what extent have you looked at how big a system would be that would do this in space? Like, have you spent time on the feasibility of doing this in space?
Great question. Yeah, we have worked on the feasibility of doing it in space. I will say our current prototype is not the small version that would be space centric, but it's not a lot of the technology is actually software. So the technology itself is, if you think of any 3D printer, it depends on what you're printing and what size bed you would need. But the other components of it do not add much mass or volume. They're kind of like a standard scanner and other very minimal on the technology, on the hardware components. And then a lot of it is really a software system, as well as a system that's set up to do testing. There's a huge component of testing that goes in before you can have that part that's ready. And that's all done kind of on the ground in a standard manner. And then it's the software system itself that's adding it to it. So I'd say if you're familiar with standard 3D printing technologies, whatever those are, we can make those work with the FQM system, for example, for space use.
Very cool. Thank you.
Sure. I'll ask a question if no one's ready to raise their hand yet. One question I have is, are you guys agnostic in terms of materials? Meaning, I know that there's 3D printing for metals, composites, anything in between, plastics. You have a whole slew. In terms of materials, do you guys have a specific sweet spot?
No, we are agnostic for all materials. So, you know, the real heart of the system is in the inspection and software system that goes along with it. And we've kind of built it on purpose to be agnostic with those other materials. There's, you know, our current prototypes are obviously, we've had to select particular materials to use for that. But really the main heart of the system can be used on pretty much any additive manufacturing material.
Sure, absolutely. We have time for one more question if someone wants to ask, and then we'll move on. If not, what we can do is feel free to leave your contact information in the chat. Ross, I know you already put it up on the slide, but feel free to put it in the chat. But it's a pleasure having you, and yeah, we'll see who gets in touch.
Great. Thank you so much. Appreciate
it. Yep, absolutely. Thank you so much for presenting. All right. Next up, we're going to have air protein. Feel free to start. Yep, there you are.
Perfect. Thanks, Asher. And one moment as I get that screen fixed. Okay, great. Thanks for having me, and very excited to be talking to this team today. I'll highlight really quick, just as we're introduced as air protein, the slides will reflect resilient. That's just a branding change that we have focused on for our work with the government, but that it includes and covers the same technology and the same team that's working on it. But my name is Weston Babbitt. I'm Strategic Partnerships Manager here today, presenting on Resilient. And we're a company that's creating ingredients and materials without the inherent challenges of the supply chain. So it won't be any surprise to people on this call that supply chains are complex, and even in the civilian market, and for war fighters, supply chains and their associated logistical burden can be a matter of life and death. And as the saying goes, soldiers win battles, logistics wins wars. So simplifying everything from food to fuel to materials and how they end up in a warfighter's hand is a matter of national security. At Resilient, we're changing how raw materials are supplied through our air chain technology. This is a fermentation process that's similar to brewing yogurt or beer, but it's different in a couple of important ways. First, the feedstock for our oxyhydrogen microbes are elements of the air, those being CO2, oxygen, nitrogen, as well as water and energy, meaning that the process is completely decoupled from the agricultural and petrochemical supply chains. Secondly, the production is continuous and it can be running in a number of hours. And finally, the process can yield a host of different targeted organic compounds, enabling the production of food, which is where we've focused, as well as fuel and materials. We also own over 30 patents with global coverage. So let's talk about where we're at today with this technology. First, we've scaled our process to a pilot facility in the Bay Area in San Leandro, California. We've partnered with ADM, who's the world's largest fermentation company by assets, to prove our ability to make food materials and to de-risk the scale up. We've also operated our pilot for thousands of hours and have successfully reproduced key commercial metrics as shown in the lab scale across different microbes. So where do we go from here? One focus area for us is working with DoD, hence our participation on today's call, through programs to prove our tech in relevant scenarios. First, we recently completed design and engineering for a large-scale facility that can produce hundreds of metric tons of materials per year. We're working on value engineering that plan to highlight optionality for our larger scale applications of this production process. This highlights how air chain technology can be scaled to meet the demand of a particular location or market. We're also working on how this technology can be applied to meet needs in mobile applications, so scaling down instead of scaling up in a very different environment through our work with DARPA. We're participating in the DARPA Cornucopia program using airchain technology to convert readily available inputs and to produce nutritionally complete foods in austere environments. So this highlights how airchain technology can be adapted to meet the needs of a partner for a particular defense industry in a particular scenario. So what can we make from this type of process? Well, out of the airchain technology, we can produce, as I mentioned, targeted materials with focused applications. And here you can see examples of powders, foam, gels or emulsions, as well as oils. And those can be used directly in foods, with things like coatings and films, even building materials, lubricants, surfactants, and eventually even fuel. All of this is produced in the same upstream process and using readily available inputs in a process that works, again, in virtually any environment. The team that's working on this is made up of biotech and oxyhydrogen fermentation experts who've been working on this technology for more than a decade, and we also have a robust board of advisors. So what we're interested in working with DoD on is to help create the resilient supply chains of tomorrow, again, where everything from food, materials, and fuel can be made from air, water, and energy. We're looking for your input on specific use cases where airchain can alleviate current or developing logistical challenges. And we have project use cases that would be of particular interest. I'll give a couple examples of that in case this helps to spark any thinking from the participants on today's call. So these projects aren't exhaustive, but provide a good idea of how DoD contacts could support the development of this technology. So if you see a fit of the work you're interested in, we'd love to hear from you. The first example we show here is designing an airchain manufacturing unit targeted at use cases without the same limitations that are focused on by the DARPA Cornucopia program. For example, a mobile food production unit that's fit for aerospace environments or relevant scenarios for those on this call. The second example focuses on training warfighters on advanced biomanufacturing by building and siting a mobile manufacturing unit at a central location, for example, the Air Force Academy. And this would provide DoD with a first of its kind training opportunity and influence on how these tools are developed. Finally, we're also seeking use cases and warfighter feedback on DoD contacts for food products made with airchain ingredients. So in this project, we would work with DoD contacts to develop and test various food formats to ensure new biomanufactured foods meet the unique constraints of the DoD. Again, so it's not only focused on our private market and customers. So with that, let me open it up for any questions.
Absolutely. Perfect.
Hey, Weston. Thanks for the nice presentation.
Thanks.
Quick question on the economics here. So is it would you say, is it true that you're mainly aiming for those defense customers, basically just because they're willing to pay a much higher price than, you know, if you were to sell any of this in more like commodity like markets, or like how much above the general acceptable price are you there?
So longer term, our ambition is to get to the point where we're at parity with today's plant-based proteins, which are the lowest cost of the pure protein ingredients that you have there. We've got TEAs that back up. As you scale this technology, it gets incredibly efficient. And again, because your inputs are not relying on agricultural supply chain, it's also very affordable. The reason we're focusing on DoD is it can help us to improve this technology in part by scaling down. So there's likely few opportunities in the civilian market to produce a mobile food production unit. So scaling down in that market doesn't make much sense, to your point, to get to economies of scale on a per kilogram basis, for example. But that's our interest in the Department of Defense. For other customers who are more interested in centralized locations where logistics are not as much of a challenge, we'll be scaling to large scale where we're producing thousands of tons in a single location.
Makes sense. Thanks.
Thanks.
Marissa, you want to go?
Yes. So do you have a monopoly in this technology?
I don't know if I would quite put it that way, but we do have the leading IP in this space. So for this type of gas fermentation, we have the priority dates, and as I mentioned, over 30 patent families on this technology. I believe we were some of the first to go on there, and I would argue we're the most advanced in this space.
Okay.
Sure, we have time for one more question if someone wants to chime in or has a question.
I'll chime in quickly. Again, apologies. Weston, so I think in the 60s, NASA had a program to do pretty much exactly what you're doing, right? Make food out of air in these hostile or remote environments. Like, what's different or what's the same, right? Like why would it work this time, right? If I look back, it's almost like now 8 decades ago, right? So now is the time, or is the tech different, the same?
Yeah, that's a great point. And in fact, our CEO normally starts speeches like these with that point, that this whole program or the effort to produce things out of readily available inputs like CO2 was started during the Apollo space programs, where they were looking to feed astronauts in space. It's certainly a lot easier to make your food as you go rather than pack all the food you need for an entire mission on your way. So that nugget of an idea, papers from NASA were originally put down. They were looking at different microbes for how to do this. But to your point, why now? It's a combination of things. So first of all, there's much more interest in availability of CO2 and some of the other key inputs that we need to produce this. Protein is certainly, as we focus on ingredients themselves, a much hotter topic than it used to be, as far as interest in getting more protein in diets and understanding the benefit that it has on diets. But lastly, of course, I think it's also the technology. So to be able to do gas fermentation in a way that's safe and in a way that's scalable, technology has now caught up to the point now where that can actually be implemented. And as I mentioned, in our pilot facility that we've got, it's very cutting edge. And if there's folks who are interested here, who are in the Bay Area, we'd be happy to set up a tour to go through that and show you how we've scaled that up. But there's quite a lot of technology that's involved in making sure that all of that works together, works safely. And because it's a continuous process, it's different than other types of fermentations that one would focus on, again, with yogurt or beer, where you're starting and stopping, and it's less tech heavy.
Sure.
Thank you for the questions, though.
Absolutely.
I'll include my information in the chat.
Great. You already got it. Thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Vertiv, and Utkarsh will be presenting.
Hey everyone, my name is Utkarsh. I'm Technology Innovation Manager here at Vertiv. As all you can see, the buzzword nowadays is the data, or I could say data is the new gold now, or I could say data is the new black gold now, isn't I, Asher? So that's the reason we say that the world is dependent on the data we power and cool. So we are the data infrastructure company. this is quite different than what you guys are looking for, but it is most essential because if you don't control the data and manage the data, everything seems to be shattered apart. So, Vertiv is a global leader in the critical digital infrastructure application, and we provide all the equipments related to data center, communication networks, critical and industrial environment. So this is Vertiv at a glance. We are across the globe with the $8 billion US dollar in the revenue, 30,000, roughly 31,000 employees globally. Number one in the thermal management, number one in the three-phase UPS, and present in 130 plus countries and have over 60 years plus experience. These are the quite numbers of geography, portfolio, and the market segment we have. This is the global presence of Vertiv, worldwide locations of 24, 300 plus locations, 400 plus service engineers and technical staff, and 27 the customer experience lab across the globe. We are present in America, Middle East, Europe, Africa, and Asia Pacific. So the robust operation, supply chain, and service presence globally. These are different segments we touch. That is cloud and co-location data center. I could say the critical digital infrastructure for hyperscaler or cloud and co-location, where we take care of reliability, efficiency, and scalability by collaborating with the AI chip providers, enabling the customers at scale to meet the specific need, world-class service, and the service for our customers. The next one is regarding the enterprise data centers, that is critical digital infrastructure for enterprise, distributed IT, and edge. We are the industry experts in combining with the partner ecosystems and giving the whole solution for our customers. The communication network, which is like a critical digital infrastructure for small cell macro sites, central offices, and IT enablement. That is innovation enabling the flexible architecture, fast deployment, turnkey solutions, and seamless services, smart, fast, flexible solutions for the advanced network. As you all know, how much networks are important nowadays. The commercial and industrial, that is critical digital infrastructure in the example vertical of healthcare, precision manufacturing and transportation, robust production in the critical digital application, delivering the reliability and simplifying the complexity in the critical industrial environment by maintaining the expert technical teams who get everything fast. This is the whole portfolio where we have a portfolio in power management, thermal management, IT service systems, infrastructure solutions, and services. So if you think about the data center, transferring of the data from one point to another point, or using the equipment to power to transfer the data, we have all the products right from powertrain, the thermal or the energy which is generated due to operating of all this. We have the solution to take out those energy and put it into the environment to make sure all the powertrains or all the equipments are running smooth. We have all the IT systems to connect and run all these thermal as well as powertrains and infrastructure solutions to in-house all those critical infrastructures. And the most importantly, the services. So protect lifecycle and digital services from Vertiv side. So portfolio strength and the uniqueness to end-to-end coverage from Vertiv. So if you think about the data center, this is what we do, right from DC power, different kinds of switches, microgrids, then the thermal management, IT management, liquid solutions, customer rackings, high capacity, IT management, and everything. So this slide explains the complete portfolio of a data center, and I could say, if you want to transfer data from one point to another point, we have the solutions to do that. We work with different partners. Vertiv end-to-end service capabilities. The vast global networks are fueling the revolution of the digital world, keeping the critical technology ecosystem running efficiently. That is consultations, assignments, and design, installation, integration, and project management, right from bring your own power to maintaining the UPS systems for the fluctuating data loads from the AI data centers, then the startups and commissionings, lifecycle services, and digital services. So we have a deep collaborations to build the future-ready digital infrastructure. As you can see, where NVIDIA is a big partner with Vertiv in all aspects of digital infrastructure, right from liquid cooling to chip, the customer collaborations and application expertise. So our approach and end-to-end capabilities are shaping the industry's future and accelerating growth. Driving the innovation at the speed with the trailblazing technology partners. Again, I want to mention about NVIDIA. So Vertiv co-develops with NVIDIA a complete power and cooling infrastructure blueprint for NVIDIA GB200 and NVL72 or NVIDIA GB300 platforms. Vertiv is working on different cooler chip projects with NVIDIA on Omniverse projects, Vertiv AI 360, next generation power, Unify software, CoolPhase Flexi, Smart Run Arc, some of the delivering new to the market offerings from Vertiv side. So strength technology pipeline, close collaborations, and Vertiv designs accelerate the customer's deployment. We follow the strategy of 12 to market. That means any product we develop, we deliver it in 12 months.
30-second warning.
Yep. So this is the last slide, Asher. The responsible business at Vertiv. So we have efficient products and systems, responsible operations, supply chain integrity, our peoples and our neighbors and governance different. So we follow one Vertiv, one planet for our people, for our planet, for our neighbors. I will put my information in the chat. I'm interested to collaborate if you want to collaborate in any front from Vertiv side. So I'm interested to do that. Thanks, Asha. Any questions?
Marissa, go right ahead. I think you made it.
Okay, is Vertiv a private company or is it publicly traded? Because you've got $8 billion.
It's a publicly traded company.
Oh, okay. What's the stock symbol?
It's a V. It's a VRT.
VRT. Okay, thank you.
Good catch.
And then just to elaborate here, Utkarsh, one of his goals is obviously to connect also with startups, because as they can integrate them into Vertiv, as we understand now, Vertiv has quite a bit of offerings. So, you know, if any of the startups want to ask a question of Utkarsh, they can as well. It's a two-sided question answer session here for whoever wants.
So Vertiv collaborates with different startups to advance the technological needs, right from sustainability point of view to giving the best product to the customers. So we are in partnership with different universities and different startups. So if anyone is interested to partner with Vertiv, you have my email ID in chat.
Thank you so much, Utkarsh.
Thanks, Asha.
Absolutely. All right. Next up, we have Windlift.
Thanks, Asher. Let me get this up for y'all.
Sure.
Is this coming in okay for y'all? Great. So I'm Rob Creighton. I'm the founder and CEO of Windlift, and we're building a new class of autonomous tethered drone. It delivers resilient, mobile, and continuous presence to operations in the air, on land, and at sea. So legacy systems are slow to set up, they're hard to move, and they're dangerous to resupply, especially in dynamic and remote environments. For instance, solar panels are very heavy and only work when the sun's out, and diesel needs convoys that are vulnerable to drone attacks. Current tethered ISR platforms, like shown here, quad drones and aerostats as well, they can't stay on station during towing or when the wind blows. And our mission is to solve these challenges. Windlift builds power-producing drones that are self-sustaining and deployable almost anywhere. They generate electricity from flight, they fly at optimal altitudes for line of sight, and use AI to adapt to virtually any terrain, sea state, or weather condition. No permanent infrastructure required. Our drones aren't just power producers. They can carry and power ISR and communication payloads, acting as mobile sensing and energy platforms. And when they're networked, they become a scalable, resilient mesh, collecting sensor data, transmitting intel, and delivering power simultaneously. And Windlift systems can host a wide range of payloads on our self-powered platform. So we work closely with the Electronic Warfare Division of the Naval Research Lab, and we've been working with them for over the past 5 years. And that's given us deep insight in the unique challenges of countering unmanned aerial systems. Major defense primes have cold called us to integrate autonomous drone technology into their customer mission requirements, and we are in partnership with them now. And we enable their technology to work better. And while other tethered drone systems struggle to operate in windy or towed conditions, Windlift systems thrive. So we're building multiple configurations now: a trailer-mounted system for disaster response and remote ops, containerized microgrid and box units that generate 10 times more power per pound than PV solar, and vessel or buoy-mounted platforms for maritime security and offshore power. All these systems are rapidly deployable, highly mobile, and engineered for dual-use missions. Compared to diesel, solar, and even traditional wind, we deliver more power per pound, operate in more environments, and we do it with zero fuel. Our ISR-equipped systems deliver persistent coverage while powering mission-critical systems day and night. We've been backed by the US military and the Department of Energy with over 24 million in contract revenue. We've partnered with the Naval Research Lab, and we hold 4 foundational patents. Our core tech is validated, and the hard part, the R&D, has already been funded. Initially, we're targeting defense, disaster relief, agriculture, and maritime markets. That's initially a $2 billion serviceable market. But as we scale, our total addressable market grows to over $200 billion by 2030. And we're forecasting $370 million in revenue with strong margins by then. Last year, we had close to $7 million in revenue and turned a $700,000 profit on our defense and energy contracts. In the next 2 years, we will invest to accelerate scaling the company, earning profits again in 2027 and booking close to $100 million in profit by 2030. So over the next 12 to 18 months, we plan to raise $9 million in private capital to grow faster. We have strategic investors committed to terms on the first smaller part of this round, and we plan to close that in the next 2 months. We're still accepting more strategic investors in this round. And this capital will help us secure our pipeline contracts, scale operations, accelerate defense and commercial deployments. And we're also going to invest in a lot of other things too, like go-to-market, technical team expansion, and manufacturing infrastructure. And all of this investment is meant to drive revenue growth and deliver systems to our growing pipeline of customers. So we're led by a world-class team of engineers, veterans, and operators from NASA to Caterpillar, Marine Corps intelligence to AI. Our leadership blends deep tech with practical experience. And our advisory board is a powerhouse spanning defense, AI, offshore wind, and capital strategy. So we're happy to say the future of power is airborne, it's clean, mobile, resilient, and Windlift is ready to lead that future. We're taking off. We'd love you to join us. And thanks for your time. And I'm going to end on a video here, which to answer questions, and you guys can, you can see this. You can see our current system operating. This system was funded by Operational Energy Innovation at the Pentagon in partnership with the Naval Research Lab Vehicle Research Section. That team there at the Vehicle Research Section, it's kind of famous because they deployed the first drones ever used in combat operations in the history of mankind. So it's a real honor to work with those engineers there and have them advise us on the next generation of mobile tethered drones. I'd be happy to answer questions.
Marissa, go right ahead.
Can your drones fly at night?
Yeah, they can fly 24/7. They even fly in all weather conditions. They can move power up and down the tether depending on the requirements of the mission. They power there's a battery on the ground that's powered. Yeah. So that's the system in operation there.
Okay, let's give Bahare, go right ahead.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. So what is the tether? What is it? Is it fiber? What is it?
The tether has a fiber optic line in it, so you can send data up and down. We also have 2 copper conductors that send power up and down, and we use advanced wideband gap semiconductor power electronics that we've designed in-house that allow us to do that very efficiently.
Okay, and the purpose, I mean, I never understood, the tethered UAVs in general.
Yeah.
So the purpose is ISR mostly. So you just
Yeah, and data transmission. You
and
can
data
go
transmission.
above the horizon and extend the range of high-powered line of sight data transmission.
Okay, all right, thank you.
David, go right ahead.
Hey, how's it going, Rob?
David.
David Adcock here from Luke. A few questions. What's the primary function for this tethered drone?
So our core capability is the autonomous systems that allow the wing to operate in all sorts of weather conditions. We have a patented roll control system that allows us to actually use the tether to automate roll control with highly precise maneuvers. And we're not vulnerable then to turbulence or disruption from using standard like ailerons to affect roll control. So the primary purpose, to fully answer your question, is for the Navy, they're really interested in the C5ISR applications. But our agriculture customers are primarily interested in energy in remote places where they have trouble to bring in grid electric.
Okay. Does it have counter UAS like mitigation or just the like detection worked in with it?
So we fly it, even the smallest system, it's about 14-foot wingspan and weighs about 35 pounds. And that system flies at 200 to 350 feet. So we can have very high powered radar systems that can detect drones that would normally come in under the radar. So it's an elevated platform for basically detecting drones coming in with a much higher range of detection than you would get from a ground-based radar.
And does that work off of a predetermined library, or is it primarily focused on just detecting the frequency that the drones are kind of operating on, right? Because a lot of these counter UAS systems, they work basically off of a library, right?
Yeah.
They add certain items to the library, and I mean that's all fine and dandy, right? But we're actually increasing our viz on the more like hobbyist type of drones, right? And if people are like creating these drones in their garage or something like that, is it able to detect those by not working off of a library?
That's a great question for our partners more than us. We provide a platform that enables all those systems. Our tether, even our smallest tether, runs at 800 volts, and our larger systems will run at 6.4 kilovolts. That's the advanced power electronics that allow us to run at these high voltages that enables very high powered radar from a ground-based platform.
Okay. And then lastly, you said that it's all self-sustaining. You said it doesn't require gas or anything like that.
Yeah, when the wind blows, we power the battery on the ground, and when the wind drops below a threshold, we send power up the tether to continue operations.
Okay. And what's
obviously, if there was no wind for a long time, so you would need to have some alternate source of energy, but we can sustain operations for long periods of time.
Okay. Yeah, we definitely have a lot of wind here in the valley of Phoenix. So I'll just use case, gee whiz, good information to know. Thank you, Rob. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'd like to talk more. I'll leave my info, and we definitely have a lot of details I could share with you offline.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And then there's a question in the chat, just really quick. What are the wind restraints? And then Mark, you could go right after that.
That's a good question. We're still testing that up to the limit. Thankfully, we've never had like a hurricane come while we've been testing, but our models and simulations show that we should be able to handle up to a class 1, possibly a class 2 hurricane with standard turbulence models. So, I mean, a lot of what we do at WindLift is modeling and simulation, model-based systems engineering. So a lot of this has been done fully in software before we've flown in the real world, and we're we're continuing that testing program in the real world to confirm our models and simulations.
Mark, go right ahead.
You mentioned power generation. I just kind of wanted to know how much power you can generate. Over.
The 14-foot system that you see testing, that's designed to be 3 kilowatts continuous power. And then the 40-foot system is designed to be 75 kilowatts continuous power. That would be in a fairly windy environment, 20 knots plus.
So are you guys primarily interested in supporting the unit itself, or are you looking to support things outside of the drone?
Our defense work is primarily self-powered, C5ISR applications on the platform. But we do have long-term ambitions to, as we get economies of scale and lower our price point, we plan to enter more markets.
Copy.
Sorry about that. I was muted. Rob, thank you so much. Definitely leave your contact information in the chat. It seems like it could be a few good conversations there.
Yeah, we
thank you
look
so
forward
much
to
for
continuing. Thank you.
Absolutely. Perfect. Next up, we're going to have Right Ascension. Steve, you're up.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Asher. And thank you everyone for the opportunity to present. Let me pull up some slides here and we'll get going. All right. Is that looking good on your end? Excellent. Thank you. All right. So today I'd like to talk a little bit about Right Ascension and our mission here to support aerospace and defense. I founded Right Ascension in 2016 to pursue aerospace valve and R&D for satellite launch vehicle and hypersonic vehicle programs. After working in private space in the new space environment for about 10 years, seemed like there's a pretty large opportunity to bring new technology and automation to component design and testing. So that's where we founded Right Ascension. And over the years, we've really looked at opportunities where this new technology for hardware development for fluid system components could be more applicable to defense-related applications. Over the past 9 years, we've primarily focused on new space and commercial space and commercial hypersonic vehicle programs. But over the last few years, we've started to focus more on opportunities for this technology in the DoD space. And a couple of the interesting factoids that we've come across are related to aircraft availability due to component shortages and rising costs for components, pointing out that the aircraft availability has dropped significantly over the years. As of 2024, U.S. Air Force assets were at 54% availability, and the platform sustainment costs have risen comparatively over the past 5 years, up 44%. So this risk is something that we feel inspired to try to help support and make sure that we're addressing these component availability shortfalls. And our proposed solution focuses on leveraging our system for design and manufacturing and testing to scale that system to support those DoD type programs. And so we develop highly reliable components for extreme operating environments with much shorter lead times and reduced cost. And we do that through the use of a lot of different automation in our manufacturing, assembly, and testing programs for those components. And just to talk a little bit about the types of components that Right Ascension has developed, a variety of different check valves from hard cryo applications all the way through 1,000+ degrees Fahrenheit. A lot of different pressure relief valves for gases and liquids, pop-off relief valves, hermetic accumulators, piston style accumulators, sleeve valves, service valves. And these components are all developed in a very aggressive timeline using our iterative approach, where we can rapidly prototype the piece parts for these valves and get them into a flight-like test environment and qualify them through a rigorous test program that's in line with the SMC 060. And so typical R&D timelines for a lot of these components are in the 2 to 4 month range. And so that includes all prototype manufacturing, assembly, qualification testing, and getting into low volume production. Our core team, a little bit about some of the folks here. Again, I mentioned I founded the company in 2016. Carlos Villanueva has been with us for the last 5 years now, supporting prototype manufacturing and testing. Jonathan Arivalo is our manufacturing lead. Desiree Murphy is focused on business development and design reviews. And Jose Magana is our quality manager and helping us pursue our AS9100 certification currently. As far as manufacturing capabilities go, we have a fully tooled CNC machine shop with several different machining centers. We've got very strong experience in stainless steel and nickel alloys. We've machined a variety of different high nickel alloys for high temperature valves, for oxygen compatible valves, and are very comfortable holding tight tolerances on machine parts. Some of the valves that we produce have tolerances in a couple tenths of a thousandth range, and we can frequently hit surface finishes less than 4 RMS for critical dynamic components. We have a fully tooled out metrology lab for performing inspections in line with AS9100 specifications, and also would like to highlight that we've developed fully automated autogenous gas tungsten arc welding capabilities so that we can have fully welded components that are used for applications where no external leakage is permissible. So you can see on the right an example of one of our autogenous gas tungsten arc welded check valves. And the weld is virtually indistinguishable from the base material. We frequently achieve weld knockdown factors basically equivalent to the base metal, and that's in a variety of different stainless steels and nickel alloys. So our welding capabilities have really been developed extensively over the years. We also have a variety of clean rooms and precision cleaning lines so that we can quickly take parts from the prototype shop, get them through cleaning into assembly and testing within days. And one of the core advantages that I'd like to highlight is that we test like we fly. And so over the last 9 years, Right Ascension has developed many different test systems for aerospace and aviation applications. We've got several different automated pneumatic test systems that incorporate different thermal chambers, and that allows us to perform automated leak testing, automated functional testing, wear-in, external leakage, internal leakage. We've got test stands that are specialized for components that require gimbaling and loading under internal pressure tests. That includes like bellows and actuators. And we've also recently developed a hot air test facility that's used for aviation components. And so a lot of different testing capabilities. And essentially what we're looking for at Right Ascension are opportunities for subcontracting with prime contractors on components or subsystems. We've also been talking to a variety of different DoD partners looking for opportunities, letters of support, memos of understanding to help us move some of our components into the DoD space. And of most interest in the current timeline is the Air Force Works Manufacturing Challenge that's coming up next month. Looks like there's some great alignment with what we are developing in accordance with the manufacturing challenge is looking to achieve. And so that government engagement memo would be of particular interest. And that that's summarizes what we're looking for, and happy to take any questions and follow up.
Sure. Opening up the floor.
I have a question.
Sure, go for it, Alex.
I'm sorry,
And
I
then
couldn't figure
Marissa.
out the hand thing. Two questions. How have you been financed to date? And secondly, are there any platforms that you're targeting in particular?
Thanks, Alex. To date, all of our funding is basically bootstrapped. We've funded our business since 2016 through reinvesting all of our profits from the programs that we've won from private space companies. And I've also invested my own financial resources to get the company going. So as of 2025, this is the first year that we've started pursuing some SBIR opportunities with NASA and various DoD customers. So we're new to the DoD space, but we have extensive experience in new space. So for the last 9 years, all of our target vehicles have been launch vehicles and hypersonic vehicles, test beds. We've gotten more into satellite fluid systems in the last couple of years. We've got components flying in low Earth orbit currently, and we also have a contract that's going to take some of our hardware to deep space. So going forward, what we're looking for are like dual use applications for the hardware that we've developed, and looking to scale production to larger quantities. All of the new space and hypersonic programs that we've been working on, the quantities that we're talking about are in the tens to maybe 100, assemblies. So it's difficult to scale that without looking at other either commercial aviation or military applications, and that's where we're going here in the next, I'd say, 1 to 2 years. We're pursuing the AS9100 certification and looking at opportunities for FAA PMA, where we could take some of these designs that we've developed and look for larger markets.
Thank you.
Marissa, you want to go?
Yes. Do you use 3D printing for doing some of your prototypes?
Thanks, Marissa. We do not. We have avoided 3D printing. I personally have some experience 3D printing in the past, and we prefer to go with conventional manufacturing methods for these components. I think there's a time and a place for using 3D printing for prototyping, and the material limitations and timeline to qualify 3D printed valve components is much longer than the time it takes us to do conventional machining. There are some designs that would really benefit from using 3D printing that we've not been able to pursue just because of the cost and the schedule and complexity of that technology. But I certainly appreciate the design potential that 3D printing offers. It's just a much more significant hurdle to bring that in-house. Conventional CNC machining, we can spool up a very capable machine shop for less than $1 million, and with 3D printing, that would be very difficult. You have to have the conventional manufacturing capabilities in addition to the 3D printing capabilities. So we haven't pursued that.
Katie, all right, next question is Katie Fatz from Boeing wanted to know about your capacity, current and future.
Excellent. Thanks, Katie. Current capacity in terms of gross market, or is there a specific number of components per month?
Yeah, I was looking at your number of components per month and understand that may vary depending on the size of the component. But I think you answered part of it, talking about your current quantities and what are you looking to scale to? Okay.
Certainly. So current volume production volumes are typically in the 50 to 100 components a month. I would say within the next 2 years, our goal, depending on, if we secure like a larger partnership with a prime contractor, we're looking at growing that to the 300 to 400 components per month by next year. We are facing a growth limitation in our current space. We really need to expand into a larger facility. We only have about 7,500 square feet, and so we're really maxing out that manufacturing and assembly space that we have available. So one of our action items for supporting continued growth is moving into a larger industrial facility here in the Valley. So that's something that we're looking at for 2026, late 2026. And that's going to be really necessary if we want to scale beyond that, 300 components per month sales volume.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much, Steve. Feel free to, leave your information in the chat, obviously. And thank you so much for the presentation.
Absolutely. Thank you, Asher. And thanks everyone for the feedback.
Absolutely. All right. So with that, we have finished the first session. Now we will be moving on and beginning the second session of the showcase. So I'm going to quickly go around and introduce some of the folks that have recently joined or are joining, and for some of the folks who are staying, so that people just know who's on. But why don't we start? I know, Ashley, you already unmuted. Do you want to quickly introduce yourself? Say hello.
Yes, hi, I'm Ashley Boyer with Boeing as well. I am in our BDS supply chain strategy team. I do our supply chain strategy for all of our space intelligence and weapons systems programs. So I'm very excited to listen to all these great overviews.
Perfect. Thank you for joining us. All right, Joe, do you want to quickly say hello?
Hi, everyone. My name is Joe Epstein. I'm from Lockheed Martin Space. My role is to identify and champion emerging technology from external sources. I do that by owning our SBIR portfolio for space, as well as work with various university engagements.
Sure. Absolutely. Thank you for joining us, Joe. Mike, you want to introduce yourself? Outside.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Mike Outside here with the Space Force Space System Command in Los Angeles. My job is the Deputy Branch Chief for OPIR Mission Protection. So I'm here to help anyone I can and see what they're developing. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you for joining us. Todd Coulard.
Hey, Asher, how's it going? Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
So Todd Coulard, I'm a principal at Mark Ventures. We're a national security focused venture capital firm. We look at all technology, technology agnostic, as long as it impacts national security in some way, shape, or form. My background is in Navy Special Operations, retired after 20 years as a Master Chief. Super pumped to hear what you guys have. And please look me up on LinkedIn or send me any follow-up feedback that you have or any questions.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining. Next up, we have Katie Vasquez.
I'm Katie. I'm an investor at Calibrate. We are an early stage deep tech focused VC based in LA. Deep tech for us is everything from robotics automation, AI, manufacturing, typically investing around pre-seed, seed stage.
Perfect. Thank you for joining us. Next up, we have Josephine Millward.
Hi, Josephine Millward. I'm a partner at Opam Capital. We're a deep tech VC based here in Washington, D.C. Early stage C to Series A, and we invest in technologies such as AI, autonomy, space. In fact, one of our portfolio companies just had a successful launch yesterday, alternative GPS. So, yay.
Awesome. That's really cool. Perfect. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for
Adam
having-
McDonough. Absolutely. Adam McDonough, I know you're having some technical difficulties. So if you're able to unmute, that's great. If not, we'll keep going. But happy that you're here joining. Next up, we have Lee Silvestri.
Yeah, thank you, Asher. Nice to meet everybody. My role is out of the Office of Naval Research in the Navy under Naval X. Here in the Northeast US, looking at companies sitting in industry, helping to find high-tech, blue-tech opportunities that serve defense missions, work closely with DIU and the warfare centers, and entering an expanded role as director of the Naval Northeast Tech Hub, which is a hub that sits outside the warfare centers in the community to facilitate tech transfer.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. Next up, we're gonna, Bill, do you want to quickly reintroduce yourself? I know you're on the last panel, but I think it'd be good for some folks.
Sure. Yeah, Bill Wanick, Senior Advisor for Warfighter Communications over at Air Force Headquarters A26. Yeah, just looking forward to seeing the tech that you're presenting today. Thanks.
Absolutely. Paul, do you want to say hello? Garcia?
Sure. Paul Garcia from the Air Force Office of Energy Assurance, contract support from Booz Allen. Our office works on the utility connected energy and power across all Air Force bases worldwide.
Perfect. Awesome. It's a pleasure to have you. Bar, do you want to reintroduce yourself one more time?
Sure, Bahar Haji Saeed, Director of Technology Scouting for BAE Systems. And I guess that's it.
Sure. Awesome. Pleasure to have you. Mark Morgan, do you want to quickly reintroduce yourself as well?
Sure. Mark Morgan, Air Force Civil Engineer Center. We're looking for anything that can help us with maintaining facilities, operating bases, to include infrastructure, roadways, so on and so forth. Thanks.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you. And I know that, I believe, Katie, do you want to say hello one more time? That's
Sure thing. I'm Katie. I'm from the Boeing Company as well. I work on our strategic sourcing and partnerships team, and I currently help run the Mentor Protege program for our small businesses, as well as SBIR and STTR. Thank you.
perfect. Thank you for joining us. David Adcock, do you want to say hello as well? I guess not. Okay. So with that, we're going to start the presentations for session 2. Skyrunner will begin. Sorry about that. Edge Runner.
All right. Hey, great to be here with you all. Give me one moment. Let me pull up my screen. I'm Dave Anderson with Edge Runner. Let me get my presentation up here. All right. Can you all see it?
Yep.
Great. Okay. So Edge Runner builds an AI solution that is occupation specific, works on your laptop without the internet. So I'll go through a couple of slides here to give you more of a sense of who we are and what we're doing, and then go through a live demo on my device and then take a few questions. So just to set the stage, the typical AI approach that you see with the vast majority of solutions looks like what we have on the left here, where the user has their device, they're typing in their prompts, maybe you're using something like ChatGPT or whatever other cloud-hosted tool. You're asking it to help you write an essay or an email, and you may be sending additional information via RAG that's relevant for the AI to process, but it's actually traversing the internet, going to a large general purpose model that's hosted in some kind of cloud setting where the AI processes your response and sends it back over the internet. Our solution is over on the right, where we're actually running smaller occupation specific models right on your device. So it works without the internet. It lives on the hardware in your device, whether it's Intel, AMD, NVIDIA. We work with all the major chipsets. and allow users to run their AI truly air-gapped. This allows us to give what you think of as a typical ChatGPT-like experience on your device, where you get all the normal benefits of AI, helping with summarization, drafting large documents, referencing large corpuses of data. We allow retrieval augmented generation locally, so you can personalize the AI's responses, works across all the different major hardware manufacturers, and really allows you to have your AI running locally, keep your data secure and private, and eliminates hosting costs. Where we actually take it a step further is we're not just providing this AI solution for running models locally, we actually provide specialized models. So we have a research team that takes best-in-class open source models. We fine-tune them on a very large military-specific data set that we've built in conjunction with AFRL and others in order to give these models a foundation knowledge of the military. And we then take it a step further and work on specific adapters where we train the models for the common use cases for a given role, such as logistics, maintenance, acquisitions, cybersecurity, combat medicine. We've built a number of different adapters already. We've actually worked with the users in those roles to understand what are the key tasks that they perform regularly that AI could help them do much faster. So the goal here is to have a solution that works on your device and helps really save time, because we're using models that have been fine-tuned and have an inherent knowledge of the domain already. Combined with RAG and combined with citations, we're able to provide much more reliable and confident answers through the solution. It's a very straightforward, simple to use software. Once downloaded, installed in as little as 15 minutes, and then once it's installed, you don't need the internet to continue using it. And this allows us to really bring AI to the mission.
Thanks.
What I'll be showing here today, sorry, go ahead. What I'll be showing here today is our laptop version. We also have a containerized version that we can deploy into private clouds. And next on our roadmap is actually a smartphone or ATAC-based solution. And some related work to call out. So we've been working closely with the AFRL Dark Saber team behind Nipper GPT to provide this capability within that platform to help it provide more relevant answers for specific Air Force specialty codes or AFSCs. We've gone through the CDAO Tradewinds awardable process. And we have a close partnership with Intel to make sure that our solution is optimized, which is very important for DoD customers, many of whom have Intel devices. So this software that I'll be showcasing is available through Carahsoft as our primary distribution partner, with a number of other value-added resellers that we partner with to make this available. So with that, let me stop sharing the presentation and I will transition into the live demo. Okay, so this is our solution here. Again, it's running all on my laptop locally. And we have a RAG over on the left. Actually, the first question I'll ask, I won't use the RAG just so you can see how the model has an inherent knowledge baked in based on how we fine-tuned it. This happens to be our logistics adapter. So we'll ask, how much water does a soldier need per day in a hot environment? And now it's going to think through, okay, depending on the conditions, it's going to reference this Army field manual. Okay, 3 to 6 quarts per day, heavy activity 4 to 10 quarts, additional factors the user should consider. So it's giving very personalized answers that'll help the user kind of think through the challenge at hand. It's actually going through and giving us an example calculation. Okay, you have 30 soldiers. Here's how you should think about it. Average requirement of 7 quarts. Do the calculation. Here's what your water requirement would be. This example scenario. And at the end, cites its sources of the different manuals that it's referencing when providing its answer. We can actually take it a step further and ask it to do more complex document drafting. So let me just open up a new chat. We'll ask, create a load plan for a C-17 moving, say, 10 generators and 16 Humvee engines. And I'll select the Capaldi over here, as well as some additional logistics doctrine. The thinking is the user could put in whatever pertinent documents they have loaded locally into their RAG system for the AI to reference, and then we'll ask it to help us with this load plan. And so then it's going to reference the Capaldi to come up with the typical generator dimensions and weight, as well as the Humvee engine weights. And it's going to also reference the C-17 capacity, come up with load sequencing, weight and balance, and really the idea here is, this is not going to be the final version of the load plan, but this is going to be a time savings that will help rapidly accelerate a user and get this kind of documentation done much more quickly. It's even giving us kind of a little sample diagram here of how this would look. And again, citing sources at the end. So with that, happy to take any questions. I'll drop my email in the chat. We're happy if there are any users here that are curious about how this solution could work for your needs. We'd be happy to do a demo and talk about how we can potentially work together, but open to any questions now.
I have a question, but I can't see a raised hand button on my side of the screen, so let me know when I can use. Okay. Very, very cool. And from a security angle, I understand. I have a fundamental question. I may have missed something. So the source data for artificial intelligence is all from a local source, from the computer, from the local networks or whatever you allow it to access. What if the question, the inquiry, had to do with information, research, insight that was not contained in the system? I assume it is limited only by what the system has in terms of source data to feed from?
Correct. So it's limited to what the model has been trained on, as well as what the user puts in on their local system for the model to reference. So they could pull down additional information online if they wish to feed it to the model to reference. But this tool by default is not going out and seeking other solutions online.
Okay, so they don't know what they don't know yet from this type of applied process.
So the system will do its best to answer the question with the knowledge it has at hand, and it'll provide its sources. But yeah, again, if there's additional information needed, the user would have to pull that in.
Okay. Thank you.
Perfect. We have time for a few more questions.
I could chime
Joe,
in.
go for it.
I'm just curious, has your company engaged DoD customers about handling classified information? Is that possible with your group or your resources?
Yeah, so right now we've primarily been staying in the unclass environment. We're working on a couple of CUI deployments. So with Nipper GPT, we actually do have this deployed into a CUI environment. However, the way we think about this is we can train the models themselves on mostly unclassed data for a specific use case. And then the users, when they're running it locally on their device, again, the data is not leaving their device. And so, they'd be free to work with, CUI data once it's approved on their Nipper device in that scenario.
Okay, and just a follow-up question, I'm just curious, with your own RAG development, do you find that helps with some issues with hallucinations than if we were using some of the normal LLM processes that you referenced at the beginning of the presentation?
Absolutely. Having RAG and instructing the model to reference given material as opposed to searching its own knowledge does give a better result and more reliable result. But you also saw with the first example that because we fine-tuned the model specifically on this domain of military-specific data, it does have an inherent knowledge base that it's able to reference and then again cite its sources. So that's why the citations are critical, because we always want the user to be able to double check that.
Okay.
Perfect. Awesome. If that's all the questions, thank you so much, Dave. Really appreciate the presentation, and feel free to leave your information in the chat.
Will do. Thank you all.
Absolutely. All right. Next up, we have Skyfish. Feel free to start sharing whenever you're ready.
Okay, just hang on a sec. Asher, just getting there. Here we go.
Yep, all good.
All right. Well, I'll get started. Well, hi, everybody. Nice to meet you. My name is John Livingston. I'm the chairman of Skyfish Corporation. We are an American-made and based drone company in Missoula, Montana. We are making a product that's competitive to the Chinese DJI model, the 300 series. We believe we have a drone that is as good, if not better, than the Chinese model. As you know, most of the Chinese drones have been basically removed from or not allowed to ban from the domestic market, which creates a really great opportunity for us. Our specialty is twofold. One, we make an ISR drone, which is intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance for DHS, which is our largest customer on the southern border. And that also has good opportunity for DoD type surveillance opportunities. And we also make another configuration that is the leading class of drone inspection, which is our configuration with a Sony camera, and it's called the LR1. And we make 3D models of critical infrastructure so that, you know, folks that own cellular towers or have power infrastructure, power transmission infrastructure, or dams, windmills, things like that can actually create a very accurate 3D model. And we take all of the pictures, we partner with a company called Bentley to stitch them together, and we produce these incredible models. And so you can inspect the asset inside of the model down to a 32nd of an inch. So it's really, really helpful for anybody that owns these big pieces of infrastructure and wants sort of a single source of truth around exactly what does that infrastructure look like. And then we have a data management system element to our business. So we not only do we make the drone, the data collection side of the business, but we also make the data analysis, data management side of the business. We have a product called Sky Portal, where you can automatically load up all of your images, make a 3D rendering or 3D model, and then be able to do your measurements inside that model. So it's really nice for engineering teams to all be able to have one view into the critical infrastructure. Of course, you know, things like we're replacing manual inspection of these towers, which manual inspection is fraught with risks. It's unsafe. It takes a long time, and you don't have a permanent record of the asset. With us, you have a permanent record of the asset. It's a drone. It's 45-minute flight. We take 300 to 600 pictures of the asset. We stitch them all together and produce, as I said, it's very high fidelity, high quality model. So we're building drones in Missoula, Montana. We're a full stack drone vendor. So we govern every aspect of the build. So we make the remote control software. We make the physical. We make the physical controller. We make our own motherboards. We do this all around an NVIDIA chipset platform because it's the best and fastest processor, and it's great with graphics. So, you know, we're making the entire drone from the motherboard up right here in Missoula. We're also 3D printing and creating these drones. We can do about 1,000 drones with the capacity that we have right now. And of course, we're figuring out along the way how to scale to 10,000 drones plus. In terms of the full stack, basically we own all these little pieces at the bottom. And the importance of the full stack is that with a full stack, you can basically customize for certain use cases. So because we own the remote controller, we have an edge of the network device for additional RTK, GPS type solutions. We have our flight controller. We have a navigation and planning component, a battery management system component, and a power plant and machine vision. Because we have all of those pieces, we can enter different aspects of the drone industry, and there's lots of different layers of and specialties out there to go into. So today we're in the infrastructure inspection industry and the ISR business, but we can also with some funding get closer to the drone as a first responder space. That's a super hot space right now, basically helping law enforcement dispatch a drone to be the first to respond to an incident. Of course, there's delivery out there. We're not in the delivery space, not planning on it, but it's just another example of a niche service. There's a lot of opportunities here for drone companies in general. And because we have the full breadth of technology, we can go into different markets, which we're excited about. Today, we're in this engineering grade use case market, so we have the most precise models of anybody in the marketplace. So we make the best 3D models, renderings of infrastructure today, and so we're the highest up on the vertical axis, and then we're adding to our autonomous capability. So we want to be top right is where we're headed. Obviously, there's some good companies. Skydio, excellent company. You know, they've done really well, but they're not focused on engineering grade, whereas we are. And so we're, you know, a little different. It's a massive market. There's room for everybody. And you just have to come out with a good quality solution that scales and is robust, works well. In terms of traction, we've got significant traction out there with a lot of the different players. American Tower, you know, other energy transmission companies, American Electric Power. There's a lot of opportunity. Bonneville is another one. Pennsylvania Power and Light. So the two big markets for us right now are the cell tower market and the power line transmission market, and that's really where we're focused. And there's a lot of opportunity. We've just released our new Osprey drone platform, and we're super excited about what we're doing there. The ask is we're doing a Series A financing. We're raising approximately $25 million, and we're interested to see if there's who's out there that's interested in the American drone space. And that's it. This is the team. Yeah, go ahead, Asher.
No. Sorry, I thought you finished it up. Go ahead.
Yeah, just to quickly say that, you know, I've built a $1 billion market cap company before with Absolute Software. I founded that company in 20 years. It took me 20 years to build it into a $1 billion company. And I've had experience doing another one that we sold to private equity for $53 million US. We started that from scratch, and this is my third one that I'm doing, and very committed to Skyfish. We've been working on this for the last 10 years. So there's a lot of technology that we've developed and have ready for the market, which is getting to be a very exciting market. And then we've got the rest of the team here. So we've done it before. We're going to do it again, and we're looking for a financial partner to come along for the ride.
Awesome. So I guess we'll open the floor to questions. Just to get started, there's already one in the chat. Someone wants to know if the Skyfish camera can only be autonomously launched out of a box and controlled by AI via mesh network. So I guess I want to know what the autonomy situation is for the Skyfish.
Sorry, I didn't quite understand. Sorry, say that again.
Yeah. The question's a little broken up. They wanted to ask if the Skyfish can be autonomously launched.
Yes, Skyfish can be autonomously launched. That is really what the drone as a first responder market requires. So that's something that, you know, we're working on with a partner who has a box, if you will. Drone in a box is the space that I think the question is addressing. And yeah, that's completely and utterly doable. Yeah. Next question.
I have a question.
Go for it, Lee.
I assume your drone technology takes in the information that helps you build the models. Is that correct?
That's right. We take all the pictures. That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. So do you have any capability? Because I have an interest in looking inside tanks, inside vessels, inside caves, tunnels, any ability of the drone to fly in contained areas?
Lee, that's a different specialty, as you can well imagine. There's companies that do that and only do that. And so, no, we don't, you know, we're not in that space, but I can't remember the name of the top of my head, the company that is in that space, but yeah, they're dominating in that area. The drone industry it's so large. There's so many applications. obviously you have to specialize. We've specialized in, you know, outdoor critical infrastructure, if you will, not interior critical infrastructure. But to your point, there's a good market for that too.
Thank you. I appreciate the answer. And also I assume not subsea, is that correct?
No, this is
Okay.
all
Okay.
air only. Yeah.
Sure. Next question, Josephine. Go right ahead.
Thanks, Asher. John, congratulations on 100% production in the US. I have a question about your supply chain. Can you talk about whether you're sourcing all your components, you know, from US companies? What about your battery, your sensors?
Yeah, pretty much. Our sensors come from Sony, it's Japanese. We've been working with Sony for quite a number of years. And then we also have a Next Vision Raptor, which is our ISR sensor. That's from Israel. So we get our sensors from either America or America allies. We get our motors from America. Literally everything we get is all the major components, I would say, are from the US. We have one component from Canada, but it's definitely domestic oriented. We're NDAA compliant, so we don't use any foreign adversary parts for processing or communicating, and that's basically an NDAA compliant requirement. So we're all American and excited to be in the position we are at today.
That's very good to know. Can you talk about your business model? Are you selling like the hardware, or are you doing the inspection for your customers? Are you selling services?
We're selling the hardware. We're enabling service providers, as you talk about, to go out and do the work. So we're selling the hardware. The hardware gives us about a 45% margin. And then we're also selling what I call a data services. So we want to, it's a little bit like the razor and blade model. We want to get as many of these drones out there taking the pictures and creating data. All that data then comes in either via the cloud or through a USB transfer, comes into our data center. And then we take all of that data, we make the models, and then we can run AI on the model. We can look for things that have changed over time, or we can also look for things that are anomalies that are out of compliance, if you will. So think about the drone is really a very sophisticated data collection tool, but really what's valuable is the data that's been collected. So all that comes into our database, and now we have this ability to search through it and look for anomalies or changes in the data over time.
So you're providing data analytics as well to your customers.
We have and so in the cell tower industry, for example, right? So we'll do renderings of cell towers. So, you know, if you can go on our website at skyfish.ai and you can see some of the videos that we've created and some of the renderings that we've created, the 3D renderings. Yeah, you'll get a very detailed rendering that you can go through, and that lives inside of the Skyfish data center. And customers they register with us, they come back in to see that. We charge for processing, and we charge for any AI that we're going to do on the back end for customers.
Thank
so we
you.
can for example, for power line inspections, we can look for any cotter pins that are missing inside the bolts that tighten down and keep the lines in place. So that's there's like 47 things we look for power line inspections, and that's one example.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Perfect, John. I believe that's all the time we have. But that being said, there are questions in the chat, and there are more folks I think that want to speak with you. So leave your contact information wherever you choose to, and I'm sure some folks will be happy to get into contact with you.
Great. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for the presentation.
I'll put that in the chat here while I'm here.
Perfect. All right. So next up, we have Cognicy. Feel free to start sharing whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Thanks, Asher. Thanks, everyone. I believe you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah. So thanks again for giving the opportunity to introduce our company, Cognicy. We are an American company based in Seattle, and our technology is this next generation of 3D perception with 3Vision. And why is 3D perception? 3D sensing is required everywhere, basically for any type of navigation system, anything that moves around the scene needs to recognize and collect information in 3D space. That being said, for autonomous navigation, robotics, XR devices from military grade to the next generation of mobile devices, as well as robotics, including also mapping, geo-mapping underwater as well. So the demand of 3D mapping is the new frontier of data collection, is the next generation of data collection, and the demand is really exploding. But the current solutions, they are usually very, very limited. They are either bulky, expensive, or even power hungry. That makes the use or its deployment throughout all those applications very, very challenging. And that's required for a number of applications, miniaturization, reducing power, not only from the perspective of size and cost, but also for thermal and mechanical management as well. And the way we are approaching this problem is that we are bringing a new technology. It's a more recent technology. It's called direct time of flight, and we are able to provide the highest combination of resolution and range within the device, all thanks to our proprietary in-pixel signal processing, plus our on-device edge computing. So we are creating a new pixel architecture that is capable of collecting and processing an enormous amount of data, photon data within the pixel itself, paired with this on-device edge computing to increase security, reduce overall power consumption and latency, which is essential for timely operating devices that need to take decisions in a very, very short time. But that also, this technology allows us to have the world record power efficiency for not requiring moving data around the chip, which also makes us capable of designing an ultra compact module without having many issues with thermal dissipation. That's for the 3D intelligence, of course, but we also at the same time can collect very high dynamic range imaging, which is suitable for very dark and very bright scenes, and collect even it's an ultra sensitive device that can collect sublux levels. Our device incorporates multiple sensing modalities, the intensity and the depth coming from the sensor, but also inertia units that can aggregate simultaneous localization and mapping within the module itself, which is essential for GPS denied environments. And here's our product. There's a lot of figures and things here, but what's important is that our sensor is our major innovation on the in-pixel signal processing, paired with a display-like laser that allows us to operate the system more as a software defined, makes us capable of a more optimal power control, optimal operation. And this new technology allows us to also incorporate or extract a lot more intelligence from the device itself. Since we are using a more advanced CMOS technology, we can incorporate better algorithms, better capabilities within the device itself. And as you can see, the device is very, very tiny. And that's one of the major benefits of our technology. Our team is very experienced. I have a PhD on this field for several years ago for autonomous driving. Before I was the depth architect at Meta, looking at similar technology for AR, VR, very, very volume constrained and power constrained. Our co-founder is a successful entrepreneur with 2 successful exits. He was a VP at Lumentum before joining this company. And we have also, former VPs at Meta, Lockheed Martin, and GoPro within our team as well. We are looking into expanding the team. We currently have 16 contract engineers, but we are looking for investment to expand the team and really deliver our product. Market-wise, it's growing exponentially, very, very quickly, 13% overall. We are targeting industrial and defense initially to about $6.4 billion market share. And we are targeting, 10% of that, but this is only the beginning. Our technology, because of the resolution, size, and overall performance is applicable to all those segments. So it's really an entry point, but we plan to expand that to different applications as well. So really, dual use is really on the DNA of our company. So again, we have like significant markets. We have a proprietary technology developed here in the US. We have 5 large PCT patent applications. We plan to expand that to 12 individual patents. We have a very strong team, very good track with partners, Sony and robotics companies as well. And we are really looking for, we are going through our seed round now, investments to expand, and also partnerships and key customers in those fields, especially on the defense sector as well. And that's it.
Perfect.
I think that was about 5 minutes. Yeah.
It was good. Thank you, Augusto.
Yeah.
All right. Opening the floor for questions. Feel free to chime in. Whoever is ready with a question.
Okay, I hate to be the next one to go again, but I have a question. So, well, actually, it's a suggestion. In my defense world, I see analogous technologies, and this looks really cool, very promising. I would suggest that you think about, as you're talking to and approaching markets and decision makers, a simulation of the view field, some side-to-side comparison of this is what people see or experience or perceive today. This is some type of a visual that allows the potential customer to see your secret sauce in action without telling them too much about how it works. Because you're up against competition, and I think you have something really unique here.
I'm going to add to that, Augusto. Can you talk about specific applications that you're going after initially?
Oh yeah, so robotics is we are starting from the industrial first. So the companies that we are talking to specifically to now has been robotics, and start to get more involved with defense as well. Yeah.
Okay, so industrial robotics doing what? Like in auto manufacturing, or?
Right. Basically, moving pallets devices, they move around the logistics, humanoid robots as well. So our device is tiny. So we are collaborating, or we are discussing with robotics companies that require that small devices. And the idea here is what we currently have is typically stereoscopic vision or scanning lidars, that they are typically bulky and very, very big, and that they cannot be deployed across a system. So with our smaller device, we can actually deploy multiple of those devices across a system. So basically being able to accommodate that on the manipulators, for example, on the hands or any type of manipulator of a robot, or also using for navigation, for example. Yeah. So that's the type of company that we are discussing with. Yeah.
So when you say navigation, you're talking about ground or aerial, for drones or
both? Yeah, both really. I mean, the robots that exist today in warehouses, they move on the ground. But there are new upcoming markets on drones, autonomous drones that need to also sense the space around them. And they don't have that kind of the sensors that they do have, DJI and whatever the LiDAR technology they do. They are typically very much larger. They do not really have, they are not prone for the next generation of small autonomous devices. And that's what we are targeting. Yeah.
I just think it would help investors, and if you can be more specific about the capabilities you bring to the table.
Yeah, Josephine, I had the same question. So, Augusto, when you look at defense, who specifically are you targeting, and what use case?
Right. So we just, as of today, we applied to one SBIR from DoD, for example, as the Air Force is looking for a sensing solution for confined space for flexible robots, for example. You cannot put any depth sensor that exists today within the tip of a flexible, very constricted robot. And that's, for example, what we are, that's what we apply for that DoD proposal. So basically a miniaturized version in which we can be applicable, or it can be applied in very, very confined areas, for example. That's one thing that we are exploring.
Great, thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you.
I think that's the time we have. Thank you for that, Augusto, and feel free to leave your contact information. Looks like
Awesome.
someone
Yeah,
is
thank you.
asking for it in the chat already. Perfect.
Let me see
All
how
right.
to stop
I got you.
sharing.
I got you.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. All good. All right. So next up we have SkyMapper. Go right ahead.
I'm assuming you can see that, right?
Yes.
Okay. I have this new window that just popped up. All right, good. Hi, good afternoon. So my name is Frank Marchis. I'm an astronomer and also entrepreneur. And today I'm going to talk to you about my new company called SkyMapper that we incorporated recently in 2024, last year. So the idea of SkyMapper is to create a network of telescopes that's capable of observing all the sky all the time. We have a use for that in astronomy, of course, to do scientific investigation, but also more importantly now with humanity going to space and us launching satellites regularly and having a lot of activity in space in orbit around Earth, we want to be able to see this activity, understand what's going on above our head. Companies like Department of Defense, of course, but also private companies like insurance companies as well wants to know what's happening with those important assets, which are satellites. We are changing the way we are doing observation of with satellites. We used to be developing large geostationary satellites, and now we are building more small, large number of satellites in constellation at low Earth orbit. Things are happening in the sky. Most people don't see it, but the press is starting talking about it. We have mysterious things happening, such as disintegration or breakups of satellites, or also satellites which move to different locations, like this one here, this UK satellite that moved to a different orbit without anybody knowing about it until a few months ago. So when you look at how we acquire data in space at the moment, we are still not using a kind of the old technology. First of all, if something happened right now, you will not be able to see it. You will have to wait for the satellite to pass above a telescope which is available. So with the lack of real-time data, telescopes are not everywhere. Most of them are located in places like in the US, in Australia, but there is not a true global monitoring. So that means that we have dark zones, area for which we don't see what's going on in space. And if something happened, like you have a constellation which has an issue, for instance, and you will need to observe regularly the satellites of this constellation, we don't have a way yet to scale this, to install, for instance, telescopes very quickly, deploy them in an area to be able to see this activity. And finally, data coming from those telescopes are generally can be corrupted, can be altered. There is no data integrity for this type of observation. So we are trying to fix that with SkyMapper. Goal is to observe all the sky, to map all the sky all the time. And to do this, we are going to use an already existing network of telescopes. So I should mention that this is my second company. My first company is called Unistellar, still existing. We developed those small robotic smart digital telescopes like this one. We have sold more than 15,000 of them everywhere in the world. So for instance, if you want to see this in this movie here, show the observation taken in 2024 by our network of users who have purchased these telescopes, this telescope. We are not the only company doing this. We have been copied by other companies. Celestron is doing that as well. ZWO, so Chinese company, is doing also low-cost telescope. In terms of number, as I mentioned, we have more than 15,000 telescopes available in the hand of people right now that could be used to do observation of the dark sky. Celestron probably sold more than 2,000 of them. And to give you an idea of our competition, ExoAnalytic, which has been around for more than 25 years, claims to have 350 stations, telescopes. So those telescopes are small and they can be operated by people. So what we're proposing to do in the first 6 months is to develop what we call the Sky Bridge, which is a device here that will connect this telescope to our SkyMapper platform. The SkyMapper platform has this kind of scheduler, so anybody can make a request for observation, and then the scheduler will find the right telescope which are active and have a clear weather to do an observation. So for instance, you can see with this small telescope geostationary satellites. You're gonna see it here passing by. This is a GOES 11. You can see also an interesting satellite. This is a spied military satellite sent by Russia last year, Cosmos 2553, and this one was observed from a city in the United States, for instance, using our telescope. So this observation is a detection of the satellite, and from this detection satellite, we derive the brightness, we derive the position, we derive the orbit, and we can see the surrounding of the satellite and know whether or not there is some activity around it, for instance. So what we're proposing to do is to change the way we do space situational awareness by combining a network of telescopes already existing and growing this network in the future, developing a platform and infrastructure which provide immutable and altered data that can be requested by anybody. And on the top of this, we will develop our own system of to assess potential risk of collisions or anomaly for telescopes. So anomaly could be, for instance, if a telescope starts spinning on itself, you can see a variation of light due to the quick change of orientation. You can see if there is some visitors nearby satellites. You can see a fragmentation of a satellite using those small telescopes. We have various partners. So first, we are a company which finished its pre-seed round in March. We have 3 VCs that joined us recently. As partner for the network of telescopes, Unistellar, my first company, has joined us and will offer access to the 15,000 non-digital telescopes. We have signed a collaboration agreement with them. We have scientific institution and foundation which also participated to the project, kickstart the project, specifically with non-dilutive funding. And we have companies and research and also research institutions like Laboratoire d'Astrophysique de Marseille, who are partner with us in developing software for satellite detection specifically.
30-second warning.
30 seconds. So our development roadmap is on the first year and 2, we're gonna develop the infrastructure, the decentralized physical infrastructure for the telescope, connecting telescopes, and also all sky cameras. I'm gonna briefly talk about that. Develop the tokenomics to incentivize people to make the telescope available to our network. In phase 2, year 2 and 4, we will develop products for the surveillance application, insurance as well, and expand our network with larger telescope. We have already been approached by companies that want to provide access to the 1 and 2 meter class telescopes. And in phase 3, we have the same kind of idea, but in space. I'm not gonna have time to talk too much about that, but the idea is, again, not to develop an instrument that can be attached, piggyback to a satellite, and will provide observation of the surrounding of the satellite. And those are the products we are currently developing. So the infrastructure is, I will say, 95% done. We had our first flight 2 weeks ago with the connection of 3 telescopes on our platform. We can start soon taking observations of satellites with these telescopes. We are going to grow quickly in a month to 50 telescopes, and the goal is to get 1,000 telescopes in a year. We're developing an all-sky camera. I briefly mentioned that will be able to map the entire sky above the head of people and detect fast-moving objects. So it could be drones, it could be satellite re-entries, meteors, but also missiles and stuff like that. And this is using, again, the SkyMapper technology, being on the blockchain, making sure the data are validated with the blockchain and available. And we are also working on the autonomous station that will be deployed in the future, a specific location if some kind of activities need to be observed, for instance, for specific constellation with an orbit that make them observable only from the poles. And that's all. I can talk about the space later on because that's going to be another topic, of course. Thank you.
Perfect. Paul, go right ahead.
Sure. I mean, looking at satellites is definitely not something that our office is doing. I have an interest in it because 25 years ago I was flying satellites. I'm having difficulty understanding what the benefit of watching satellites with telescopes is, because even back in year 2000 we were looking at every sky object, including the trash, with precision and detail. So what is the physical observation doing that your system's for?
So we have a competitor, Leo Labs, that does they do radar observations, and there is multiple competitors coming in Europe that will do radar observations. Radar observations are great because they are good to pinpoint small fragments, smaller satellite. But in our case, because we're observing invisible light, we can also have information about the satellite itself, such an estimate of its size, the spin period, the composition of the satellite. We'll be able to, by doing multicolor observations, to see, for instance, if the ratio of solar panel versus the body of the satellite. And that's not something you can do with radar. We're complementary to radar observation as well. And also, it's much easier to deploy a telescope than to build the radar antenna. This image here is the 50 by 50 by 50 centimeter box that a human being can carry. Put it in somewhere, open it will open automatically and take the observation automatically. And that's not something you can do with radar. You need to have an infrastructure which is significantly more energy, consuming a large amount of energy. It's extremely visible. It's a large array. In our case, we are developing things that can be very discrete. They're not going to be visible to most people.
Perfect. Josephine, do you want to ask a question? I see you're muted.
Oh, am I still muted? Can you hear me?
No, you're unmuted. I can hear you.
Okay.
You're unmuted.
Well, I was just, so other than Leo Labs, there are many space domain awareness companies, and I think Exo Analytic is using a telescope, a network of telescope. So really just trying to understand, how do you differentiate what you're doing? And frankly, the best approach is probably, multiple data sets, right? Looking at, getting data from different sensors. So what is unique about, what you're doing?
That's a very good question. So Exoanalytic is a company in existence for 25 years. There are 350 stations. Our goal is to have 1,000 stations in less than 6 months. So that's a significant difference. The more stations you have, the more telescopes you have, the more cross-correlation analysis you can do. And we are everywhere. If you remember the map I showed at the beginning of my talk, you can see those tiny dots popping up. There is a lot in Canada, United States and Northern America and Europe and Japan, but there is also some significant amount of them in other countries. So we don't have a dark zone. It's my understanding that if you want to hide the activity you do in space, one of the easy way to do that, if you have a satellite, is that you wait for your satellite to be above a country which has no access to telescopes, so nobody can watch you. And there is a lot of places like this, dark zones, gaps, and you move your satellite. And you will take sometimes weeks for other people to find your satellite. Because if you move it out of the orbit where it was located, you will basically lose people will not be able to track it. So we are proposing a network that can truly see all the sky all the time. There will be always a starry night in the Sky Mapper network. And we also have a system which is decentralized. ExoAnalytics and our competitors, like Leo Labs, have a very centralized system. I don't know the details of the infrastructure, but I know that Leo Lab servers are located here in the Silicon Valley. We are not located anywhere. We're using the blockchain technology, so that means that this network cannot be stopped. If you destroy or you have a major power outage in the Silicon Valley, you will not have data coming from your labs. For us, we will be resilient. We will be still here taking data.
Do you provide any analytics on top of just data?
Yes, that's the phase 2. The phase 2 will be the analytic. The phase 1 is the data. That's going to be the first year. We will provide basically in phase 1 location, brightness, and orbit determination for your satellites. In phase 2, we will provide an analysis of the stability of the orbit, the need for maneuvers, evasive maneuvers, for instance, if you want to escape a potential collisions. So this is in our roadmap as well.
Great, thank
Sorry,
you.
guys. Yeah, we're gonna have to keep the show on the road. But Frank, feel free to leave your contact information in the chat.
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
thank you for the presentation. Next up, we have Brennan from Hybron. Brennan, feel free to start sharing whenever you're ready.
Yeah, let me just. Are you seeing the slides correctly, like the presentation?
I'm seeing your version of it. So if you could switch the screens or there's an option in display settings just to swap.
Display settings, just to swap. Here, do you know where it is?
Yeah, right there. You got it.
Settings. Yeah, there we go. Okay, is that done?
Yep, it's good now.
Okay. Wait, I actually think I shared the wrong one, but wait, sorry, can you give me 1 second? A little bit technical difficulty here. Sorry about that. Let me see if I can get this one. That work?
Yep, we can see it now.
Sounds good. Apologies for the technical difficulties, everyone. We are Hybron, and we have a new manufacturing process for composites. Think carbon fiber. We have the former CTO of Northrop Grumman on our team, who is a director of composites manufacturing for the B-2 stealth bomber. We have a letter of intent for $100 million per month worth of the composite artillery shells that we're developing, and we have made parts that have been successfully tested in a fighter jet engine. To start, our structural metal supply is in a critical situation. Aluminum is needed everywhere for aircraft, missiles, satellites, you name it. Aluminum upstream supply is dominated by China, and according to the Congressional Research Service, there's only one active smelter in all of the US that can produce aluminum of sufficient purity for military and aircraft applications. The situation for titanium is also critical, where we import 95% of our titanium supply with supply largely dominated by Russia and China. My father is a veteran US Air Force colonel, and as an American, this situation is ridiculous, unacceptable, and a serious threat. Domestic composites manufacturing can solve this, and the aerospace and defense industry already chooses composites for their lightweight, high strength, and corrosion resistance, which allows entire systems to achieve increased performance, fuel and energy savings, and decreased emissions. However, traditional composites is a slow, iterative process that places materials layer by layer, one by one. It has three major problems. It is too slow, it's too expensive, and it cannot make complex geometries. And as a result, many complex structural parts that could benefit from composites are still made from metal due to technical and economical feasibility. We've developed a new manufacturing process to solve these issues, and we've replaced a 10-step layer by layer process with a 5-step batch process that is 10 to 100 times faster, 5 times cheaper, and can produce complex geometries. We've leveraged our new technology to build the world's first composite compressor blades, which we've ran in a fighter jet engine at full power. Compared to our competition, we have the fastest part production rate at scale. We also have high temperature materials and large part capabilities, allowing us to reach many more applications than other composite startups. In addition, large equipment manufacturers actually want to work with us because they would have to rebuild their entire infrastructure to compete with us, and we've received purchase orders from many large aerospace primes. Our team is well qualified to scale this technology. Aaron and I have 10 years of composite experience. Rahul, our Chief Growth Officer, is a U.S. Marine veteran, former Amazon Vice President, and was a Los Angeles Regional Engagement Principal at the Defense Innovation Unit. Craig Ellis, our Principal Engineer, is the former Director of Composites Manufacturing for the B-2 stealth bomber and the former Chief Technology Officer of Northrop Grumman. We're also being supported by a strong board of advisors, including 3-star General and former CIO of the U.S. Air Force, Bill Bender, multi-billion-dollar exited founder Jack Barron, Stanford Professor and Director Fukuo Chang, and distinguished UC Berkeley Professor Robert O. Ritchie. Together, in just 2 years, with $350K, we filed an accelerated patent application, partnered with a world-leading composite material supplier, and successfully tested our composite blades in the fighter jet engine. Essentially, we completed phase 2 work with a phase 1 budget. We have 2 more scheduled pilots where our customers will commit over $100K in testing costs and risk more than $10 million of capital equipment. After our initial jet engine test, we came in on stealth and gained significant traction. This includes with the top 5 largest defense contractors. We're a part of the FedTech Northrop Grumman Technology Accelerator and are quoted as a success story on their website and LinkedIn. And it is public information that we are building test articles with Northrop Grumman. In addition, these primes have provided internal research and development funding to help further our development, and one of the primes also applied to the Air Force's Mentor Protege program with us as a protege. We have also gained significant traction with the DoD. According to a Reuters article, artillery causes 80% of casualties on both sides of the war in Ukraine. We are currently developing composite 155mm artillery shells for the U.S. Army to solve the current munition shortage, increase lethality, reduce logistical constraints. Our shells will have at least 4 times the lethality of typical steel shells while being cost competitive and much easier to mass produce. We are also starting to work with Army Development Command Armament Center and Aviation and Missile Center, and recently recruited the former principal investigator for the Army's composite artillery shell program, who we pulled out of retirement. In addition, we have received letters of support from Space Systems Command and the Air Force's Autonomous Collaborative Platforms Manufacturing Lead. To support the DoD, we will enable surge production because our raw material and manufacturing is all domestic, eliminating reliance on our adversaries, and we will lower the cost of composites to be competitive with metals. In addition to these manufacturing benefits, we will also be upgrading the performance of these military systems for warfighters, with lightweighting composite parts allowing systems to have greater range, payload, speed, altitude, and maneuverability. Currently, we're seeing the most traction and most focus on unmanned systems, one-way drones, and munitions, where there is a high quantity needed, where we can help solve shortages, and where there is less certification required. In fact, we have a letter of intent from a major US allied country that is in NATO for $100 million per month worth of our composite artillery shells. To date, we have raised more than $5 million from venture capitalists and are being proactive to rapidly develop products. This includes sometimes spending a lot of our own money to advance our technology to support our warfighters as quickly as possible. We would love to have your support as we revolutionize lightweight component production. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brennan. Opening the floor for questions.
And where do you stand in terms of your technology development? Are you at TRL 6, 7?
That depends on the specific product. So with blades that have already ran at a fighter jet engine, we're at the TRL 6 to 7. For some of the new products that we are also developing, like this composite artillery shell behind me, this one, even though it's only around maybe a TRL 3, we are very rapidly developing it. We went from an idea to this prototype in less than a month. And because we can apply the same materials and manufacturing capabilities we developed for the blades, we can rapidly mature other products to higher TRL levels as well.
What kind of CapEx requirement do you need to set up production?
So compared to traditional manufacturing, we need far less CapEx. Or steel forging, they're looking at putting billions of dollars into artillery shell plants. For us, we're able to take Cold War era, actually 60-year-old dirt cheap equipment that was only $50K and turning that into a modern production line that could potentially produce about 6,400 artillery shells per month in our facility. And that's more than 15% of current US production.
Don't travel with that thing in your hand. Don't fly with the torpedo in your hand.
Oh yeah, this artillery shell, I have some stories about it. TSA will occasionally let you take it. But it's a risk every time you try. So
thank you.
Quick question, Brennan, if you don't mind. I must disclose I'm a huge fan already of you and Aaron and your company. And however, I have a question. Can you speak to any size limitations? And second question would be any vulnerability where the seams come together, either bonding composite to composite or composite to metal?
yes, so to answer the first question, size limitation, that's not there's no inherent size limitation to the technology. It's only based on the capital equipment we have right now. And it's a high pressure process. So it's the square area of how much you can mold at once. So to make a single part, our current limitation conservatively is 18" by 18 inches, but that also means you can make a 9" by 36" part. Just it's the square area limitation. But there's ways we can improve that in the future, especially when we look at just bigger presses to make larger parts. And there's some other innovations we're doing to lower the required pressure for our process to make larger parts. And the connections and the seams you're talking about, one thing that we are experimenting with is seeing if we can kind of mold parts into each other. So that way you wouldn't need bonding steps. But generally, there's a lot of advantages with the way we can make complex shapes that weren't possible with traditional composites, where you can make things fit together as opposed to relying on with traditional composites, relying entirely on an adhesive bond. I'll also caveat this by saying we're not experts in adhesive bonding, but because we can make those complex shapes, if you're making larger assemblies, it allows you to have better connectors with more area and ways to mechanically connect different components together. With metals, one benefit is we can actually mold in metal inserts to our parts. And we've actually done that for our blades where we can mold in a metal leading edge, which will be in the future important for manned aircraft for bird strike situations. And then for connecting to metal, our material should work well with bonding the metal to composite, just like a typical adhesive. And similarly, you could still use the complex shapes to make it better registers for bonding or fitting things together. The other area you can add is potentially molded in metal inserts for threads or riveting, as opposed to needing the traditional labor-intensive bonding steps with aerospace composites.
Thank you.
I have a quick question, Brendan. Has there been any research or questions from customers about compatibility to different types of energetic compounds that these artillery shells would be carrying?
That is a great question, and that's something we're going to need to actually research more. I will add though that for the composite artillery shells, we do know that composites have been used for energetics and solid rocket motors, as well as just generally warheads. And from what we know, based on basically on almost all solvents, our composites are extremely corrosion resistant because they were developed initially from oil and gas formulations to deal with the really corrosive environments down there. So I not predict it would be an issue, but that's definitely something we'll look into. But I do believe also when the Army did their composite artillery shell study, they never had any issues with the compatibility of like, I guess TNT on the composite walls on the inside.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Brennan. Make sure to leave your contact information in the chat as well, and folks can follow up. And also, it looks like Adam messaged you in the chat as well, so definitely answer him. And thank you for the presentation.
Sounds good. I'll start answering the chat questions. Thank you, everyone.
Perfect. Awesome. All right. Next up, we have Vela Recoillist. Dong, you're up. We see the screen, but it's not in presentation mode yet. And I can't hear you yet. Hey, we can't hear you, son. There you go.
Okay, let me try this then. Okay, so, okay, let me see. Share already. Do you see my screen?
We can see your screen, but it's not in presentation mode yet, at least for me.
Okay, let me see. Is it
There you
better?
go.
Okay,
You're
great.
good.
Thank you, Asher. Thank you, everyone. My name is Song. I'm founder of Valor Recoillist. We are a firearm company located in Silicon Valley and in gun control, California. So we are not afraid of doing unusual things here. We specialize in developing automatic recoilless rifles and also leveraging that capability to build counter UAS and small drones. Okay, so the problem we are trying to address right now is counter FPV and fiber optic FPV drones. As you know, these drones are tiny little problems, but they are giant headache for militaries around the world because these systems are a threat to a full spectrum of military assets, all the way from individual soldier to tank to strategic bombers. One of the problem with this drone is that they are quite elusive and hard to detect. So oftentimes, by the time you know it's there, it's right in front of you. So you only have seconds to react. So it is desirable to have high intensity kinetic solutions for countering these threats. And our offering is iCivics. So iCivics is a very close-in weapon system designed to protect individual soldiers or assets. It has a very short range. It's lightweight and inexpensive. So the status quo you can compare to is the Fallon Civic system that's designed to protect large ships, and of course it weighs tons and wouldn't fit into your wallet. So the two systems share the same operating principle. That is, it depends on exceedingly high rate of projectiles launched to intercept and incoming threats. at the heart of the Fallon system is Gatling guns, and at the heart of the iCivic system is a recoilless auto shotgun that provides very high rates of projectile launches for interception. And this is how it works. So the prerequisite is that you need to keep the firearm aim at the target while you launching during shooting. So you can project all those bullets onto the target to create a very dense shot pattern for intersection. So this is shown here. So this is basically, this video is a FPV view or the pilot view of a drone. The requirement or what you should pay attention to is to keep this crosshair on the target during rapid shooting, just like this. Okay, so this way you can create a dense pattern to shoot down the target. And to do that, one of the requirements is that you have to keep the platform and the gun steady during rapid shooting, just like here. Okay, so we solved that problem with our recoilless rifle technology, and the other use case of the system of the weapon system is that we can leverage the lightweight and platform agnostic property to form a line of the last defense against FPV drones on the ground. For example, the system can be mounted on a tripod and it's lightweight backpackable, so it can be used to protect individual soldiers or small units. Or it can be mounted on the robot dog, so you can let the dog do all the work. And also, you can envision mounting it on a truck or a tank to protect the tank from attack by the FPV drones. So the benefit of the system is that we can create intense, dense patterns of shots for interception, and the system will be lightweight, and the system will provide better success rates against drones in scenarios where the window opportunity is short, for example, in second or less. Our core technology that we depend on to build those systems is our proprietary automatic recoilless rifle technology. And it is technology we base to produce, build our Pulsar family of recoilless weapons. And we are, or I should say, few other people are supplying a rapid firing recoilless firearm right now in the market, and we are one of the first, I believe. Okay, so what we want is we are building connections and support with military units, individual military units. We want to work with soldier innovators to drive disruptive defense innovations. We would like DoD to support us. And building military systems, it requires specialized a lot of facilities and a lot of money. So we want to have support in logistic and financial support from the government. We are also seeking collaboration in detection, fire control, and autonomy from the industry in that aspect of the civil systems that we are building, and also basically seeking capital to build our unique civil system. So Thank you for your interest and support, and would love to talk to you guys. And this is my contact information. Thank you.
Perfect. Perfect. Any questions?
Yes, Son, I have a question for you.
Go for it.
How do you handle integration since you're platform agnostic? Is it more of a plug and play with existing platforms, or do you foresee a lot of testing and calibration with these systems?
Yeah, this is it's a firearm, and it operates not that different. It operates in the same way as the other firearms, except that we have recoil compensation mechanism. So the integration into other systems, I expect it to be more or less plug and play. Although we will be able to help with the software integration aspect of it. And we want to work with people who already have similar systems, and basically to provide a upgrade or performance enhancement in their counter UAS system.
Perfect. Any other questions? Can you talk to us a little bit? One last question for me. Can you talk to us a little bit more about traction, like in terms of testing it and stuff like that?
Yeah. Those are because this is a short range, very short range. So the detection system it's going to be integrated with an early warning system, and then the optical detection system of our system will take over after that. So there will be a turret or a gimbal that's integrated to control the firearm, and it will be autonomous. We need to either work on ourselves to develop those traction and control system, or collaborate with partners in the industry to provide that part of the function.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sung. I think that's all I have time for, but thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you.
All right, awesome. So that concludes session 2. We're going to move on to session 3. Because we're running a little late, we're not going to do an introduction to the panel. So we're going to jump right in. The first company that's presenting in session 3 is going to be Lemco. We are ready whenever you guys are. Let's see. Sure if I'm seeing Brian from Lemco. In which case, we're just gonna move forward. Sarah, you guys want to go right ahead?
Yeah, no problem.
Perfect.
Share my screen. Okay. All right. Yeah. Good afternoon. My name is Eun-gyu. I'm from Amsera. Amsera is a sulfide solid electrolyte manufacturer and a solid-state battery solution provider. Today, I will be showcasing one of the battery technologies that we have been developing through an ARPA grant we call All Climate Fast Charging All Solid State Battery. So Amsera's mission is to play a supportive role in commercializing solid-state batteries as a material supplier or provider, as well as a battery technology developer who we plan to license out to the scaled-up battery manufacturer who can do high volume throughput for the battery production. We are located in Tucson, Arizona, and we are Series A, post-Series A company with a major Hanwha as the major investor, and we have multiple government grants through Department of Energy, including ARPA-E. So the current battlefield's energy solutions, primarily lithium-ion battery, they are great, but things can be better. For example, the energy density can improve, and the flammability or the safety can improve, and the reliability or the temperature window on the low temperature end as well as the high temperature end can be improved. And at Amsera, we believe solid-state battery can be the next generation battery technology that can address these pain points. So at Amsera, we have a vertical integration strategy starting from material innovation and design. Sulfide solid electrolyte is the key material that is enabling the sulfide solid state battery technology. So we produce those powders in-house and also do sales to generate revenue. And we also have a internal battery development team working on cell design, electrode design, and other cell parameter optimization. We also have a collaboration partner we work with for a system design level, which we integrate a internal heating component that gets integrated into the pouch cell stack. So with these combined together, we are targeting high energy density of 400 watt-hour per kilogram and higher. We have demonstrated fast charging of 80% in under 15 minutes. We are in the process of doing some safety screening with some third-party national labs and universities, which we expect to demonstrate improved safety, primarily from using the sulfide solid electrolyte compared to flammable conventional liquid electrolyte system. We also demonstrate wide temperature operational window, particularly at -20 degrees C, retaining majority of the energy at that low temperature compared to room temperature operation. The company has more than 50 patents, more than 90 trade secrets covering the material, cell, and system design. And currently we have more than 200 paying customers purchasing the sulfide solid electrolytes produced by Amsera. I guess a bit more technical side, we use high loading dry processed NMC as a cathode electrode. We provide or produce thin 10 to 30 micron thick sulfide separator. And also by introducing a high content silicon anode with high capacity, we are also able to achieve thin thickness on the anode side. And all these combined together, we project energy density higher than 400 watt-hour per kilogram. We would also like to state that we do not put any liquid electrolyte in there. There are a lot of companies out there labeling their technology as quasi or semi. That indicates that they put in some liquid electrolyte, which doesn't provide that improved safety as a fully dry solid-state battery. One of the challenges of solid-state battery is the stack pressure requirement. Some of you may be familiar with the concept. Over the past couple of years, Amsera has been addressing that, starting from 40 megapascal. Recently, we are moving on to 1 to 2 megapascal range, and which is in the borderline of getting acceptance from end products such as consumer electronics or automotive application. Just to showcase some technology, so the green line is our typical discharge profile of the battery at 30 degrees C with that internal heater that we incorporate. Without the heater, we get this purple line, which is not that good, but also lithium-ion battery also has that significant performance decay at a cold temperature. But with this technology, with the system technology that Amsera has developed, we can adjust the cell temperature to whatever temperature we want. In this case, we adjust it back to 28 degrees C, although ambient is at -20 degrees C still. And this discharge happens without any preconditioning, which would be typical for existing technology. So for existing technology, you would wait for 5 minutes up to 30 minutes for your battery to warm up, and then you can drive off or take off. Whereas for the technology we are developing, that will be not necessary. So you can imagine you can drive off without waiting for the battery pack to come back to that optimal performance or temperature. We can also, utilizing that heat adjustment on the cell, we also demonstrate 80% fast charge in 15 minutes. And we also cycle cells doing that fast charge every fourth charge, and also showing about 99% capacity retention over 200 cycles, and the cells are still ongoing. So on the technology to market side, with growing demand on the sulfide solid electrolytes from end customers, there are like big players like Samsung, LG, Honda, Toyota, also players in China like CATL, BYD, making press releases on pilot line production. We are engaging with them and doing qualifications to put our powders into their pilot line. And over the years, as they scale up, we scale up our powder production as well. And we also have internal battery development, which is also scaling up in the size with a target of licensing it out to the battery manufacturer who can scale up. For internal battery, I guess as internal battery projects for initial markets, we are looking at high value products such as aerospace and defense or consumer electronics. Our selling point is that the batteries can operate at wide temperature operational windows and high energy density and fast charging. We are engaging with several customers on this perspective. And for future market, of course, everybody is going after the big electric vehicle market and energy storage market, but this likely will take more time to break into the market as a new battery technology that will take some time for the cost to come down to meet the current energy cost with the existing technology. So with that, thank you very much for your time and attention. And Amsera is developing mission-ready solid-state batteries for America's future. And yeah, my contact information is down there, and I will also add that to the chat. Yeah, thank you.
All right, Paul, go right ahead.
I'm going to encourage you to think more about the energy storage market. I'm talking about 200 Air Force bases, all with energy storage needs. And we will have an RFP out probably at the end of next month that I encourage you to watch for. I'll certainly put you on the distribution list, but we're looking at utility scale battery systems, and we have no interest in EVs because the EV program has been canceled. I'm sure other parts of the Air Force use small batteries, but not for installation energy. We're at the utility level.
All right, thank you.
You mentioned cost as one hurdle that you're working on overcoming. What are some of the other obstacles to say scaling this up to energy storage?
I think cost is the main concern, and the other obstacle would be the stack pressure requirement. Because there's no liquid inside, the interfacial contact impedance can be pretty high based on how the cell is processed compared to a liquid electrolyte cell where you get like a perfect contact by injecting the liquid. So a couple of years ago, it has been like 10, 20 megapascal with development on the active material, but also on the electrolyte end. The pressure has come down to 1 to 2 megapascal range, but still ideally, the consumer end product consumer wants drop-in replacement, so they would want to see pressure below 1 megapascal or as low as possible or non-existent. So that will be another barrier for the end user to come up with some pressure regulating apparatus to host this battery, and whether this battery will have enough upside to balance that out would be something the end user would have to think about.
Thanks. I have one other very different question. So you're post Series A. Are you looking to raise more money, or are you basically all set and just looking for customers at this point?
We're looking for both. We are looking for a post-Series A or A plus funding round at the moment. And we're looking at about $10 million to support scale up of the powder production, as well as scale up on the battery manufacturing and capability.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Hey, everyone, sorry about that second delay. We have time for one more question. Otherwise, we can continue on. Josephine? Or no, did I not see okay.
Well, I'll ask one more.
Sure.
Hanwha was your major investor. Who else has invested so far?
So far, large corporate is Hanwha, and others are smaller investors. Yeah.
So more like angels.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Young. Feel free to leave your contact information in the chat. I'm sure there'll be some folks who would love to get in contact. All right. Next up, I believe we're gonna have Rocket Technology Systems. Feel free to
Yes.
start sharing whenever you're ready.
Just 1 second here. And you can see me?
See.
Yes?
I can't see you, but we can hear you, which is good.
Whoops. You can't see? Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to start sharing. Huh, a little ahead of myself.
All
All
right. We
right.
can see the presentation, but it's not in presentation mode yet.
Yeah, it should be. All right. Yes? Good?
Yep, we're good.
All right. We want to talk to you today about our OUSD GPR 5G, 6G technology transition needs. We're the warfighting 5G, 6G people. And I'm Jeff Wallace from Rocket Technology Systems. So problem, DoD communications networks are old and costly, and that's all of them. Can't handle today's complex needs. We face we have too much latency, and that's insufficient for AI and autonomy. And current hardened compute and network gear is also outdated, expensive. No good options really for mobile or secure edge computing, and civilian systems are even worse off. And so we have our foundation of our solution is a software-defined cellular network framework that we developed under ODUSD contract on an OTA. That's just sort of the seeing eye chart of the whole setup. The idea is that you can put your own 5G, 4G, 5G, 6G network up on your own. And the real punchline here is in the lower right-hand corner, which is you can really start to reduce the cost of deploying your own cellular networks by repurposing IT people. One of the big deals as well with what we're doing is using software-defined radios. And for us, that means having radios that do multiple things. So your cell phone tower radio can now be a radar, EW, directed energy weapon, participate in resilient navigation as well. Some of the sample problems that we're working on here now: Golden Dome, integrated base, installation unit self-defense. As I said, the idea here now is that you're able to have your radios do more. And because of new telecommunications standards, we actually developed an expertise in timing and synchronization that's not present elsewhere in the DoD. This is better than GPS timing. And the seeing eye chart down in the lower right-hand corner is to talk about this idea of having the cell phone tower radio be a radar, a direct energy weapon, and to change the game really in engaging targets. We also have a backlog of IP for end user devices that we need to start selling. Builds off of our 5G modem platform there in the center board. That's the IoT platform. We have a Wi-Fi multi-enclave Wi-Fi hotspot, which is targeted to replace the Verizon, Samsung, SIPRNet Wi-Fi hotspots. There are supposed to be a variety of multi-enclave secure handset procurements coming up. That's the prototype in the center that's intended to deal with that. And the idea is that we're providing now a greater security posture in addition to higher performance than you usually get with your big telecos. The market opportunity is really big, and it also goes across both the civilian and defense sectors. And we're also exploring, international markets and going head to head with Huawei in places like Brazil and Saudi Arabia. And you know what? I guess we're sort of like the deep seek people in reverse back to them, and we're looking at having a good time doing that. In terms of progress, where we're at, we bootstrapped our way forward here, just winning OTA contracts, reinvesting what we made into pushing the technology forward, into creating this really big backlog of IP. We also have 8 patents, and that's really why we're here to. That's kind of our ask. Next round of contracts is shaping up nicely. That takes us forward into new technology spaces, putting cell phone networks in the sky on drones, satellites in outer space that then connect to those drone networks to create resilient networks. But we still need some things that we'd like to work on. SBR, in-scope SBRs like the integrated base defense in the Golden Dome technology space, being able to penetrate better into installation management and base security. We have responded to a big RFI with the Air Force for 42,000 square miles worth of missile base private 5G. We're waiting to hear more about these DISA, NSA, and various services, secure mobile and IoT requirements, both recompetes and new contracts. And as I said, the private sector asks a seed investment to market and sell these specific opportunities in the DoD. And we even have some interesting private 5G applications and business areas that we've been developing. The integrated base defense is natural knockoff and surveillance self-protection platform. I've been talking to a transmission line operator that has thousands of miles of transmission lines that they'd like to protect better. We've met with some NFL teams about building an immersive quarterback training and analysis system, because that's the biggest and most expensive personnel decision that's still a crapshoot out there. And as a kind of an offshoot of that, fan experience infrastructure for stadiums and arenas and things like that. And with that, I would say, any questions?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jeff. We'll answer it in the order asked. Go for it, Chris.
Tell me a little bit more about 2 things. One is I'm curious about the background and how you got into this. And then secondly, on your fundraising, how much are you looking for? And it sounds like you've already got some traction. So exactly how would you spend that?
Yes. So, well, how we got into that, that's a pretty interesting, thing. I'm a big technology person, solved the problem of lead in modern electronics at the school that has the Nobel Prize for Semiconductors. And I was talked into this startup and started as my COVID project, building the software for a software stack for modems and cell phone tower stack for a Silicon Valley radio startup. And the OSD people said, hey, help this guy win some contracts. And so I went and recruited as a prime. I went and gave a demo on inauguration day 2021 and won my team a $30 million contract. And so we worked that for the last 4 years, in the middle of that, we outcompeted Samsung. They fired Samsung to go and use our core network and cell phone tower system. So we've already beat the big guys. And, we're we're getting ready to have fun and go do a lot of things, not just in the USA, but around the world. And we'd like to get a $5 million seed round. Don't want to take on any more than we need to. We're bootstrap startup people, and we'd like to go and use that to go and target some of these big procurements, go and properly recruit some good prime contractors, some big partners, and help them go win just like we have others. For example, I also one point in time helped drug Lockheed Martin across the finish line, helping them prove one of the central theses of their F-35 win. And if I can do that, I can help a lot of people. We can help a lot of people.
One other follow-up on that. So with the various OTAs that you have, how much revenue are you bringing in right now?
We just finished one up for 10 million, and we have another, and that was over 3 years, and we're now lining up what appears to be about another 6 for this year, and that would expand into about Matt, if we succeed on everything that we're supposed to expand into naturally, about another 15 the next, without even trying, without any stimulation.
Cool. And what is your team right now?
We are 10 people, so we are like DeepSeek, and we're just happen to be some pretty smart people. Then cherry pick some talent from around the world, and we have a great team in the USA.
Thank you.
Perfect. Awesome.
And Mr. Wainig's still on. We're actually trying to do a flight capable SDR direct to phase 2 with him.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I got my teammates checking it out. So it was very interesting.
Perfect. Well, happy to hear about that. Awesome. Thank you so much, Jeff. Make sure to leave your contact information in the chat.
I'll do that. Thanks so much, everyone. Thanks for your time.
Perfect. And last presentation of the day, but not least, we have Lemco. Feel free to start sharing, you guys, whenever you're ready.
Okay, let me pull up my presentation. Sorry, I thought we were on it around 3:30, but okay. Oh,
You put it
I
at
can
the
share
visual?
screen. Hmm. All right. Where is the share? There it is. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay, can you see that okay?
Yep. You could, if you want to start presentation mode, you can. Otherwise, this is fine.
Okay. No, I mean, can you see? I'm sharing my screen. Does everybody see that?
Yep, we can see it. Yep.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. I think for most people, maybe good evening. I'm Brian Ponte, and this is Xiaowei Pan. Lemco, we're based in Schaumburg, Illinois, and we were founded in 2004 by a group of ex-Motorola engineers and business folks. For better or worse, our lives are coupled to our phones. A catastrophic failure of the mobile networks significantly impacts how we operate during the day. This
These
impact.
slides. I don't know if you want to move to the next slide, but we see the title slide still.
I did. I moved.
So we're not seeing that on the screen.
Okay. No, for some reason.
Oh, there
if
we go. Now it's going.
Presentation mode. I'm gonna have to be out of presentation mode. For some reason, I'm in presentation mode. Yeah. Okay. So anyways, this impact will become more severe as AI technologies are integrated into networks. This reliance on phones bleeds into the military world, warfighters use the advanced applications available on commercial networks in their daily lives. Similar capabilities should be available to them while they're on duty, and military use demands rapid deployment capabilities, resilience, and security. In 2005, Lemco supported the 82nd Airborne in the rescue and recovery efforts after Hurricane Katrina, utilizing our rapid deployment capabilities. Sadly, in the 20 years since Katrina, military communications has not advanced much beyond this deployment experience. All right, did my slides move?
Yep.
Okay, great. Lemco's founders found a better way, saw a better way to deploy mobile networks. In 2004, the mobile network functions, the intelligence needed for a mobile network to operate, were hardware-based, and each function had its own device. The network cores were very expensive and complex and required expensive backhaul facilities. Lemco's invention was enabling the network functions in software and deploying the software on commercial off-the-shelf hardware. This simplified the network deployments, reduced operating costs, and enabled additional capabilities that I will discuss. Fast forward, let me change slides here. Fast forward from 2004 to today. Currently, most mobile network functions in the industry are enabled in software and installed on COTS servers near the edge of the network. This is called networks function virtualization and mobile edge computing. Lemco holds 35 patents covering networks function virtualization and mobile edge computing. In addition to our strong patent portfolio, Lemco's technology has a key differentiation. Unlike our competitors, we could fully distribute and synchronize the database across all of our nodes. Our competitors' databases are highly centralized and require expensive telco-grade connections to the database. This is very difficult to achieve in a tactical environment, and systems do not operate if the database is unavailable. So our unique database structure enables key product capabilities for tactical networks. First of all, on-demand cellular ODC enables the ad hoc deployment of single nodes or clusters of our platforms to provide tactical mobile communications. ODC SwarmNet is an additional functionality that enables operation while in motion and the dynamic movement of warfighters in between nodes. Redundancy is inherent in our system. If a platform is disabled, the rest of the network will continue to operate without disruption. Our systems can be deployed on trailers, trucks, aerial assets, and even man-packed formats. Beyond enabling the ODC and SwarmNet products, our database infrastructure architecture enables the rapid deployment capabilities, resilience, and the simple backbone connectivity. We have integrated with almost all Tier 1 and Tier 2 radio vendors, so we can select the radio that fits the mission. Our truly flat IP network structure supports robust integration of application-based servers, including AI platforms. Our software is lightweight, using about 10% of the processing power. This enables the use of battery power for man-pack capabilities. And finally, our software has been proven by powering networks for over 20 years. We are in active discussions in Taiwan with the National Police and Fire Agency for the development of rapid response emergency communications, essentially mobile tactical network platforms. Taiwan's top telecommunications company has pledged support for this effort. We've been active in the nuclear power vertical in the US for several years. Studsvik AB out of Sweden is now our reseller and will expand our opportunities worldwide. Studvik's products and services touch about 80% of the nuclear power plants around the world. Telephonic is a reseller for Lemco in Latin America. Their focus is private networks in remote areas for customers in mining, forestry, and agriculture. Texas Share is a buying consortium representing over 1,500 local governments, including school districts. Late last year, we won a contract with Texas Share for our gunshot and vape detection system. last but not least, we've started the process of monetizing our patent portfolio. 2 patent infringement cases have been filed as a start of our licensing effort. So to wrap it up, our ask, whoops, one more slide. We believe strongly that we offer the best tactical mobile network capability industry. We recognize that we need strong partners, just as we've developed in our commercial business to pursue DoD opportunities. Of course, we are also interested in new markets, whether they be vertical or geographically oriented. And then finally, we are in the process of raising equity funding to enhance our 5G and AI technologies. Thank you for your time and attention. And there's my contact information. I guess I'll put it in the chat box too. So stop right there and open up for questions.
Awesome. Tim, go right ahead.
Sure. What are you looking for in terms of your equity financing? How much and for what uses?
We have about 3.6 million treasury funds, treasury shares. So we would like to sold like a $15 per share. So in that way, we can reach at least 15 million for the full project plus the extended marketing.
Okay. What is that? I'm sorry, I can't do that math off the top of my head. What does that equate to in terms of valuation for the business?
Evaluation today, we roughly like pre-money around like 350 million. So if you buy 15 million, it's roughly less than 1% that range.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
To follow up on that, you said you were founded in 2004?
Yes.
Yes.
And have you taken any funding up until this point?
We used friends and family monies. It's all in Chicagoland. So currently we don't have any insurance fund yet.
So it's all private people money, no institutional funding, no VCs, no banks. It's all friends and family.
Okay. Why now, after 20 years? Why are you looking to raise money now?
Right now we have several big potentials. Yeah, and we are waiting for the patent litigation win. That's kind of evaluation pretty high. It's about like tens of billion dollars for this kind of lawsuit. Yeah, and we have about 150 potential targets. Yeah, and right now we've been asked many directions. For example, like Taiwan, the project potentially about over 200 million. Yeah, and for nuclear, for the 300 nuclear plants, that project probably over billions. And for Texas, government, there are about 1,200 schools districts. That means it's $1 billion contract. We have to be put something developer works. Also, we have a project for the Telefonica. Telefonica probably one of the largest carrier. They are breeze Lamco technology, they license, and try to reseller. But we have to be developer. All this customer, they don't have some money to pay in the front. We have to be, sell and receive money later.
Please tell me a little more about that. What exactly would you be doing? Would this be for producing inventory of some sort, or what do you need the money for up front?
For example, like Texas, school projects. Also, Texas government help us to sell. Yeah, and we need to have like treat show one by one school to go in there to have like show them. Yeah, and each school to buy it, we have to be equipment inventory here.
Yeah. So yeah, the contract it's an umbrella purchasing contract. We still have to go out to the local school districts and government entities to sell the project underneath the contract. And so our desire would be have product ready to deploy as schools come online to purchase the systems versus, right now we build more or less to ship. We don't really hold an inventory.
Lamco is, we are IP and software company. We don't have any hardware inventory. We have to be, typically somebody asks to, Lamco deployed roughly like over 1,000 nodes, 1,300 nodes today. But always been customer asset. We just ask them to build it. So those kind of things will take like a time. But for government order, and we know something government order like a Night 60 or Night 90, we have to be inventory here. And all the equipment, all the functions will have to be built it before we shipping.
Okay, if I could paraphrase then, basically what you want to finance is a shift from being basically a software company to a product company. Is that about right?
Yeah, that's a fair description for sure. Yeah.
And another one is that potentially we have we have IP forms, and we have about 35 patents. A lot of things like a small litigations, it's very hard to find a third party to fund it. We would like to use a little bit of money for this kind of IP enforcement also.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Perfect. And I think that just about wraps it all up. Thank you to everyone for joining us today. Thank you to all the presenters and as well as the panelists. We couldn't have done it with all of you. And thank you to everyone who joined, even the audience. We really appreciate it and appreciate the support. And yeah, feel free to reach out if you want to speak to anyone, if you didn't get their emails in the chat box. And we really appreciate it. And thank you for everyone for joining.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Have a good one, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.